Muted. Hello, hello, hello. The stream should be live. I have my Twitch chat on my phone now, where hopefully it doesn't disconnect me often or at all, so that I can actually have access to looking at Twitch chat. I am going to. I see stream elements right there, which I haven't seen in ages. So I think Twitch chat on my phone is working. I'm gonna open up the YouTube chat as well so that we can also have access to that. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully, stuff like Discord and stuff. Which, by the way, I have Westcord now instead of Discord. I have Westcord, which is just Wencord, which is an open source Discord client, and it works much better on Linux Mint, which is what I'm on. I'm just trying to go see if it detects that I am streaming, because I feel like it doesn't. It hasn't yet. Don't know if it eventually will, but it hasn't yet, and I'm not sure why. Oh well. It'll if it has to do it, it'll do it. Twitch chat on my PC is already disconnected, but on the phone it's fine. Let me just test that out too by typing a little yo. Yeah. On the phone it's fine. Great. So I am gonna try doing a new thing today. And that new thing is essentially we're gonna spend the first hour, hour and a half of every stream, could be longer, could be shorter, but first hour, hour and a half of every stream, I want to try. I'm basically like trying to do a primogen. I want to try and like react to some things, go through some like game dev news or whatever, and then we can get to the dev stuff. I've already done my typing club for today, so I don't have to do typing club. I did that before stream. I feel like it's not a great viewing experience to do typing club on screen, although I don't know. I could start doing it on stream too. I feel like when I'm learning Wim, it's gonna be much better to do the typing club stuff on, or the Wim learning stuff on screen, on stream, on. Okay, I am actually see it's already open. I am actually super excited about one thing. I'm actually super duper excited. I have YouTube Music open. That is not what I need open. And that one thing is the fact that I'm excited about an article. I'm really excited about an article. I've been eyeing this article for a bit now, and I wanted to go through it with you guys, with the chat. So let us do that. Let us get into it. Basically, this is huge drama. Okay, huge drama in the game dev space, especially whenever you talk about accessibility in the game dev space. It's like there's like mixed opinions everywhere, because some people feel like difficulty is akin to accessibility. Some people hate that you're even talking about accessibility. And then other people are like, we need it everywhere. I'm kind of in that camp where there's like methods to do accessibility right, and you gotta learn those methods so that you're always kind of keeping it in mind with every game, and you're kind of following those methods. For example, just like colorblind friendly palettes, colorblind friendly color palettes are just great to use generally. Like normal people will be okay with that, and then also people like me who are colorblind will also be okay with that, and it'll actually help us. Alternatively, you can also always have an option that just changes the color palette of the game, and so anyone with color blindness can just go look at those options and set it themselves, and then those with not can just use your normal palette that you probably want to use. That's a very small thing to do that really ups your accessibility. Doesn't change gameplay at all. Maybe if you need something to be really stylistically one specific color, which I feel like there are still in colorblind, like for example, I have Deutania, which is red green color blindness. Doesn't mean I can't see the color red, or the color doesn't. I'm looking there when the camera's there. It doesn't mean that I can't see the color red or the color green. It just means when the color red and the color green some shades are next to each other, I have a hard time distinguishing them. So what the colorblind palettes do is they will just like adjust the tones and the hues, I think. I don't know how it works, but all they do is just like it feels like it's a separate tone or a separate hue that makes it so that those two colors will now be distinct for me, but it won't change, you know, it won't change the fact that it's still red or it's still green. So it won't stylistically, it shouldn't stylistically affect how something is created. But anyways, coming back to this article. So basically, a prominent accessibility advocate worked with studios and inspired change, but never actually existed. In 2019, the game's accessibility community mourned the death of Susan Banks. I have no idea who this is, by the way, or I didn't know this person existed anyway. But apparently they didn't exist, so it doesn't matter. Now, evidence suggests she may have never existed to begin with. On March 4th, 2019, the accessibility community mourned a prominent advocate, Susan Banks. Banks's partner, Cody Craven, announced her passing on social media platforms such as Twitter. The industry lamented the loss of an individual that helped raise awareness for accessibility in games, particularly the deaf and hard of hearing individuals. So yeah, for that, just have an option for subtitles in any game. I feel like it's pretty easy to do that. But anyways, let's see this. Able Charity, it is with the deepest of sadness that we say goodbye to one of our own, our friend and ally in the fight of for game the our friend and ally in the fight for game accessibility. Susan can play it, or Susan can't play it. Susan was a force in our industry and will be sorely missed. Her life. Hold up, let me check if YouTube chat is also working, by the way, because I never did. Does it pop up on screen? It does. Lovely. Okay. Susan was a force in our industry and will be sorely missed. Her life mission will continue to go on through this fundraiser. Okay. Banks's death marked a significant loss for the video game accessibility community. She regularly interacted with developers from studios like Ubisoft and the Coalition, pushing for better options and design. She helped to revolutionize games journalism through the creation of Can I Play That, a site dedicated to the coverage of accessibility and the disabled perspective. Okay, this is a lot for a person that literally doesn't exist, but I guess we're gonna find out what the twist is, right? An award was even named after her posthumously to give to an award was even named after her posthumously to be given to disabled individuals in games that uplift their communities and educate others on the importance of accessibility. However, not years, I said years. However, in the years since Banks' alleged death, mounting evidence and accounts from those close to her work suggest that she was not the person she claimed to be. In fact, some are convinced that Banks may have never existed at all, embedding in communities. Banks first appeared in the gaming industry in August 2015. An ex Twitter account called One Odd Gamer Girl appeared to share the perspective of a deaf, Muslim, queer, disabled gamer nerd. I feel like that's just trying to like hit. First of all, it's very varied. It's so varied, but it feels like it's just trying to hit, like, you know, search terms or all the tags that it needs to hit anyway. Through accessibility reviews and interactions with varying studios and advocates. These posts regularly explored topics like deaf and hard of hearing accessibility in games, living with mental health related disabilities like schizophrenia, racism, and being in a queer relationship. So, like, literally, you're trying to hit all the check boxes. I feel like, okay, usually if you're gonna create a farming account, Discord just realized that I'm streaming. If you're gonna create a farming account, usually you try to hit like one demographic, right? It feels like it's trying to hit a lot, but it's 2015, so different times. I feel like you still couldn't get away with that in 2015, but I don't know. I don't remember a lot. It's from the before times. It is very much from the before times. Yeah, Discord knows I'm streaming, but also Discord doesn't know I'm streaming, and the fact that like it's not. See, that's the thing with like I didn't know if Wencord was gonna pick up. that I'm streaming. Also, it just crashed. It straight up just crashed. It's gone. Hold on, let me relaunch that. No, it is straight up just gone. I just clicked settings and it's gone. Oh well. Uh, I don't know what happened there. Anyways, prior to Banks' introduction to the gaming industry, she allegedly escaped oppression and emigrated from Turkey with her sister and established herself in Chicago. See, you wouldn't pick Turkey either if you knew a thing or two, because Turkey is progressive to an extent where you wouldn't just like you can't just like make up a story about. I don't know. I've lived in Turkey for a while. Lived there for at least 5 years. I feel like yeah, there is some. There's a lot of like mindsets there, but I feel like it's not like a place where you would just be persecuted is what I would say. You might be looked at weirdly, but you wouldn't just be like persecuted. Um, but yeah, anyways, I mean, you can make up a story about anywhere. I don't think that would really be like this wouldn't really be like something people would be suspicious about if you just said, you came from Turkey. Any foreign place that you can make up a story about, you pretty much can if people that you're talking to aren't aware of that place, right? So it doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, prior to Banks's introduction to the gaming industry, she allegedly escaped oppression and emigrated from Turkey and with her sister and established herself in Chicago, building a life around her interests and disabilities. According to a former business associate of Craven's, her various jobs are said to have included being a professional model, an asset manager at a financial firm, and a professor of deaf studies at Gallaudet University, the leading university for deaf and hard of hearing individuals in the United States. Okay, sorry, I butchered. That's probably a real place, and I totally butchered it. All before the age of 30. IGN reached out to Gallaudet University's Deaf Studies program for comment, and they replied stating that nobody by the name of Susan Banks was ever employed at the university. Damn. Had to fill out a form, add a new doctor that for some reason asked my race. I selected other and wrote Arab like I always see. Turks would not write Arab. And the receptionist wanted to argue with me. Honey, I think you checked the wrong box. You're Caucasian. I think I effing know where I was born. No? Well, clearly not if you're from Turkey and you're writing Arab, right? Like, I feel like that's a good sign. I feel like in 2024, we're in 2024. I feel like in 2024, that is a big red flag. I don't know, maybe for me, but I don't think, I guess people aren't, I don't know. People don't pay that much attention. In addition to the posts on X Twitter, a now defunct site purported to belong to Banks included accessibility reviews that were featured in profile and community pieces across multiple publications. These posts, which argued for more inclusive design and accessible features, soon attracted the attention of developers like Ubisoft and the Coalition. These articles, interviews, and social media posts became a fixture within the then relatively small accessibility community. It's during this time that founder and executive director of Able Gamers, Mark Bartlett, notes that Banks' advocacy, particularly on social media, made them cross paths. Susan came on our radar in 2017 when we were introduced to her on Twitter. We have some hashtags that we always follow, and her work started popping up. According to an Able Gamers employee, Banks would regularly reply to conversations posted by individual members of the charity, as well as the main organization account. At the time, the accessibility community was inherently aware of those within it due to the select number of consultants and representatives. And as awareness grew along with the accessibility community, Banks became a prominent advocate within the space. Cody Craven and Susan Banks. Banks was never alone with her work. While in Chicago, she allegedly met Cody Craven, so another made-up individual, I'm assuming, I feel like it already told us about that, right? I mean, it did. I think it already did tell us, like, their partner, they never existed. Who she originally hired to walk her dog. According to private messages between myself and Craven, shortly after their introduction, Craven announced to friends and family on social media that the two had entered a romantic relationship. Within months of Craven's introduction to Banks, Craven claimed Banks had been hospitalized after dropping a KitchenAid mixer on her foot. I feel like that doesn't hospitalize you. I don't know. Never worked with a KitchenAid mixer. What is a KitchenAid mixer? KitchenAid mixer. I feel like any mixer dropping on your foot, like it'll hurt. But I feel like that shouldn't. I don't know. I mean, they're trying to, they're trying to look like someone who's like really vulnerable. So they could use the most, harmless thing, the most innocuous thing, and say they were injured by it, right? Like that's the agenda here. Yeah, I feel like that can drop on me. That can drop on a leg. And you'd be like, yeah, it'll hurt. Like this looks heavy. Okay, hold up. KitchenAid mixer weight. How much does it weigh? If my Google wants to load up. How heavy? My alarm's going off. That was not an alarm to sneeze, but I had to sneeze. How heavy is a KitchenAid mixer? 30 pounds. I don't speak to me in metric, please. 30 pounds to euro to kg. 13 kilograms. Okay, that's kind of. I feel like that. Yeah, that could break a foot. Never mind. Yeah, that could break a foot. Like 10, anything above 10 kilograms is pretty. Like if it just dropped on your foot, I feel like, yeah, it could probably break a finger or two. Okay, checks out. According to both an anonymous former business associate of Craven's I spoke to and my own past conversations with Craven, several hours later, her leg was allegedly amputated. Okay, wow. Several hours later, her leg was allegedly amputated, and nearly 48 hours after the first operation, her other leg was amputated as well. The anonymous source mentioned above claims they then contacted West Suburban Medical Center in Oak Park, Illinois, where Banks was said to be recovering, according to the source who saw this information on social media. When they contacted the hospital to send flowers, the hospital said there was no patient by that name. This resulted in the source seeking a third party opinion due to fears of Craven allegedly misrepresenting himself and taking advantage of clients through sympathy. Okay. Craven's work affected me personally, and for me to continue any form of working relationship with Craven, I needed to feel comfortable that I was right in my assumption about his storytelling. They said, I knew I couldn't find proof. I had searched for all the ways I knew to look for the existence of a woman named Susan Banks and her sister, to be Hamid. Like, to be Hamid. Okay, and couldn't find anything. To secure my business and make sure my interactions were above board, I wanted to bring in a professional to tell me whether I was right in my hunch. It just occurred to me I've been completely deaf my entire 40-year life, was born deaf, and first time I've ever been shut out from being able to enjoy something in my way was when I started gaming. Okay. I feel like if you post this in 20 again, if you post this now, I feel like this is a troll post. Like I feel like this like gets ratioed like 5 seconds later on Twitter. I don't even know if people ratio anymore on Twitter because I'm barely on Twitter anymore. I haven't been like active on Twitter like, since the sync walked in. So I'm like barely there anymore. So I don't even know if people like what the current ratio etiquette is. I feel like he removed, I think likes, like in comments, likes got removed. So I think like they removed the ability to actually ratio, and I'm assuming that's because Elon Musk probably got ratioed a bunch. Like he probably gets ratioed on every single post he makes. Anyways, according to the source, Craven allegedly received gifts and consistent praise and attention every time he would post about Banks' ailments or recoveries. In order to prevent any legal ramifications, particularly if Craven was misleading clients, the source hired a private investigator, a retired Chicago police officer who previously worked with an associate of the source. The goal of the investigation was to find concrete proof of Banks' existence. Several days later, the investigator returned with no information. No immigration record, address, employment record, marriage license, or birth certificate was found. Banks, according to the investigator, was not a real person. IGN received the receipt of the investigation and can confirm the source was billed for these services. Years after this event, Banks and Craven entered the gaming space with relative success. Banks' advocacy became the subject of numerous stories, from stories in Digital Trends to a spotlight posted by able gamers. All interviews with Banks were conducted the same way, through email or private messages on X, Twitter, or facilitated by Craven. According to Able Gamer, Senior Director of Development Steven Spone, I'm assuming that's how their name is pronounced, most interactions with Banks were on X, Twitter, except when sending her interview questions for the Spotlight piece through email or emails, connecting her with others in the industry. I never spoke to either Banks or Craven, Spone said. It did not seem odd at the time because I have many deaf friends who also like to avoid Zoom calls if possible because texting is easier. And because other people were interacting with them, I assumed they were real. There are many people I have met on Twitter that I have never met anywhere else. Spawn sent IGN several emails of his interactions with Banks, with one of them including her stating, "I'm available via email or Twitter DM, whichever you prefer." These behaviors are identical. These behaviors are identical to her interactions with everyone else we spoke to or observed. Communicating over text or emails is common for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Platforms like Discord don't offer captions, and many services captions can be difficult to read based on aspects like accents, internet connections, and even microphone levels. It's not suspicious for somebody with alleged disabilities like Banks to request these accommodations. However, throughout all conversations, reactions, interviews, or posts, no one had ever seen or heard Banks by herself outside of her social media profile or with Craven. IGN also, like, I feel like at some point someone might be thinking, oh my god, this person's holding this woman hostage, right? Like, that is also something that somebody could be thinking. But anyways, IGN also reached out to the author of Digital Trends story, and he confirmed that he had conducted the interview through email, explaining that Banks stated was the easiest form of communication. Spend that time changing the world or enjoying it. Don't waste it. Susan Can Play It died with a review on screen being made to help other people. That's how I hope to go. Sadly, that person never existed. This much hurt so much. This must hurt so much knowing that, like, this, like, cool advocate, I don't know if they were a cool advocate, to be fair. Like, they might have been a very big troll, but like somebody that, like, a bunch of people who actually do want to advocate for accessibility, which is really hard to advocate for, like extremely difficult to advocate for, by the way, in the gaming space specifically, because a lot of people are just like, oh my god, get good, oh my god, when like that has nothing to do with accessibility, right? Like, being bad at a video game, like, not really nothing to do, but generally you can be a godlike gamer and still require some accessibility features. Like, it had, like, the two are not linked in that way. But anyways, like, it's a really tough space to advocate for accessibility, and like knowing someone that you trust a lot, that you feel like is a voice for accessibility, figuring out that like this was essentially just a troll, that must hurt so much, and probably hurts a lot of people's advocacy causes. Probably hurts a ton of people's advocacy causes. In 2019, Craven announced that Banks had died, shocking the accessibility community. In a private conversation between myself and Craven before I began reporting on this story, Craven claimed that Banks died while playing games from a stroke. In another private conversation with a different individual viewed by IGN, Craven claimed she died while streaming, and that at least one other person had a clip of her death. Yeah, how do you stream if you don't, like, I guess they would not show their face, right? Like, I feel like they would be camless if they wanted to like show this person basically streaming, like, as, like, you know, show that essentially this person streams, therefore they exist. They would just do camless streams and maybe change their voice, if they're not, if they're not a woman who's playing this person. But IGN could not find evidence of any streams or video footage containing Banks. One day after her death, Craven acknowledged her passing by mentioning the dozens of notifications Banks' account was receiving. No obituary was uncovered for a person fitting the description of Susan Banks in Oak Park, Illinois. So you may be wondering who Susan Banks was and why she has an award named after her. It's all right. We know so many in the ever-growing ally community didn't have the pleasure of knowing or working with her, so allow us to tell you about her. Tell you a bit about her. Susan was a deaf woman who lived with schizophrenia and multiple strokes. After her first stroke in 2013, she found video games. But as is the case for disabled people trying to do most things, she had to become an advocate for accessibility to really be able to play them. Susan was an exceptional advocate and used her success to co-found CIPT after 4 years of focusing solely on deaf and HOH accessibility, hard of hearing accessibility. She made many connections and influenced a lot of games in her too brief gaming life. She died after suffering a stroke in March 2019, but her impact and the legacy of her advocacy remains. We like to think she'd be proud of what we've become and how much our community has grown. And that is why Susan Banks Advocacy Award, and it's amazing to have it sponsored by Ubisoft. All right. From a memorial post created by my throat's getting dry. Sorry. From a memorial post created by Able Gamers to a dedication of her work at the Game Accessibility Conference, the industry mourned the loss of a member of an already intimate community, and with the precarious nature and health predicaments of disabled individuals, seemingly losing someone to a sudden cause like a stroke caused immense feelings of grief, especially for an individual as impactful as Banks. Even years after her death, the industry continued to mourn her loss and celebrate her work and impact, something Craven frequently and publicly acknowledged for years, thus attracting the attention of developers across studios. Profiting from alleged lives. All right, this is where it probably starts to get juicy. On February 11, 2019, several weeks before Banks' apparent death, Craven created a GoFundMe for the launch of Can I Play That?, a website dedicated to reviewing games and analyzing the industry from an accessibility lens, which was announced on both their social media account and the one allegedly managed by Banks. After Craven announced that Banks had died, organizations like Able Gamers directly shared the GoFundMe campaign, encouraging others to donate in her memory. According to Mark Bartlett, the decision to share the campaign link on social media was due to what he believed to be Banks's work and dedication on behalf of the accessibility community. If we tweeted this, it's because we thought we were supporting Banks, who we genuinely had spent time evaluating and supporting the work that they were doing, Bartlett said. Craven used the sympathy generated by Banks' death to push himself into the spotlight. For years, he continually posted on social media about her passing, her legacy, and her impact on the industry. These conversations continued through. So does Craven exist? I still don't know if Craven exists, to be fair. Or is Craven just like the person behind all of it? Numerous recognition profiles about Craven. He even had the opportunity to publish stories about his experiences with grief, especially pertaining to Banks' death. In 2021, the Game Accessibility Conference presented an award titled the Susan Banks Advocacy Award to an individual who upholds the accessible mission and uplifts disabled voices. In 2022, the International Game Developers Association received an email from an anonymous source questioning whether Banks had ever actually existed. IGDA got this. Ooh. The Susan Banks Advocacy Award. Susan made a profound difference at a critical time for the industry. This award is for an advocate using their voice to make a difference across the wider industry. The finalists are Grant Stoner, Chris Robinson, Erin Hawley. Okay. My thoughts were that someone seemed concerned about our community being taken advantage of, and that they wanted to let me know. Remembers IGDA Executive Director Dr. Jakin Wela, I don't know. After processing the conversation, it seemed to me the worst case scenario was an individual was perhaps progressing accessibility initiatives in conjunction with a pseudonym. I did not see much of a concern there, considering how often people receive hate and harassment for advocating for DEI issues in the gaming industry. Uh, an IGDA volunteer familiar with the situation explains that when informed of the incident, Craven claimed the questioning was affecting his mental health and wanted to simply remove Banks' name from the award. Even when offered legal support, Craven wished to forget the situation. In December 2022, the award honoring Susan Banks became the Advocacy Award, and any mention of Banks ceased. Beyond the life of Banks. Since Banks' death, Craven has posted about two similar romantic relationships with fellow games accessibility advocates. So, okay, Craven, Tubi Hamid, and Damaris Deb Burrell Wand. It's a big name. Both have also had their existence questioned. So, dude just makes up people he's dating and then just like uses them to. I mean, it's a good scam, but also why? Just be the advocate yourself, right? Just be the advocate. You don't need to make up these stories. Or I guess I feel like the stories are what attract people, right? Like humans are more attracted to stories. But if you're so good at making up stories, you can make up stories that don't scam people. I don't know. Or you could be like a story consultant. Responses from both Banks and Hamid. Every story or post of Cravens would include responses from both Banks and Hamid, and like the anonymous business associate explained about Banks, nobody ever saw Hamid outside of profiles on social media. IGN's source also notes the same private investigation of Banks failed to uncover any evidence of Hamid's existence. Yeah. Approximately, have I dropped any frames? I've dropped 30 frames. Okay. Approximately 2 years after Banks's alleged death, Hamid was introduced to the industry through posts on the now deleted Tugboat Hamid X Twitter account and a Medium page. The archived X post discussed Hamid's apparent relationship with Craven, game accessibility, and experiencing the industry through the lens of a person of color. But Wido co-founder Kate Sanchez recalls that it was like what it was like to interact with Hamid's account through private messages with Craven and other conversations. I had interactions with Tubi quite a bit on Twitter, always around race and disability as well. Sanchez said, I've been very vocal about the importance of including non white people in the disability and accessibility space, and Tubi would often have the same views or echo them. Beyond Twitter, Craven would relay messages between me and Tubi, usually around race and disability. In 2021, Can I Play That ran a story with Hamid's byline published and edited by Craven, detailing her experience as a deaf person of color in the gaming industry. The story details her connection with Banks and even advertises Craven's work and business ventures. That year, her story was nominated for the Best Journalism Award by the Game Accessibility Conference. I feel like this person's probably going for like a good Best Journalism Award at this point. Throughout this time, Craven also acted as a judge for the conference awards. However, during this period, Hamid suddenly disappeared, deactivating her social media accounts and leaving the industry. I know, so this is another allegedly non existent person. I know a lot of y'all know each other from a game accessibility stuff, but I wanted to introduce myself because I don't do social media. I'm Deb, Cody's partner. Cody, man, just get a date. I'm assuming they're a man. I don't know. But yeah, like Cody, get a freaking date. Just get a real date. You can date like normal accessibility people. You don't have to make up everyone you're dating. I feel like this is more of an examination of this person Cody's mind and the lengths they have to go to just like be considered as valid. And I don't know why they had to make up partners to be considered as valid. I don't even know if Cody exists anymore, by the way. I don't even know if they exist. They might also be a pseudonym. I'm a therapist, so I'm helping out with tag stuff and lending my deaf and black perspectives to pulling tags from games. Okay. Craven's alleged third partner was introduced to the public in 2023 once again on social media platforms like X, Twitter. Unlike Banks and Hamid, Deborah Wan has no Twitter account of her own, instead updating people through self-published stories on Medium, as well as anecdotes given by Craven. According to private conversations between myself and Craven, Wan was allegedly a close family friend of Banks, and the two reconnected after Banks' death in 2019 before entering a romantic relationship in 2020. So this is recent. This is very recent. Similar to Banks and Hamid, there are no pictures of Craven and Wan together. Instead, Craven posted on X Twitter screenshots of alleged text conversations between the two. Dude's just texting himself. Each post provides a glimpse into their alleged relationship, but without showcasing any physical interactions. The profile picture of Juan with these screenshots appears to be photoshopped from a stock image from 2015. Okay. The neighbor left a note. Okay, I'm not going to read the text. Juan was instrumental with the creation of Craven's latest venture, the game content triggers database, basically. Like, dude, I feel like dude's trying to do good work, but his way of going about doing good work and getting like eyes on that work is like make up a partner and then murder them. And that's how you get eyes on your work, which is, I mean, I guess it worked, but it's not a great marketing strategy. It doesn't feel like a great marketing strategy. Uh a source that volunteers and a source that volunteers and developers can use to display potentially triggering themes, scenes, or objects in games. Her presence in the industry is relatively isolated to her Medium page and actively within the database Discord server. Like the previous two partners, stories about representation were crucial to Juan's work in the industry. I'm Deb. I don't know anybody because I don't work in games or do social media. I'm Cody's partner and helping out because I'm a therapist and have a long background in psychology and mental health. I'm also deaf, so I know a bit about ableism. Great. According to Wan's or Wohan, I don't know. It's probably Wan, right? According to Wan's introductory post within the Discord server, as well as an article published on the database by Craven, she is a registered therapist specializing in PTSD and trauma. She has a long background in psychology and mental health and is also deaf. So I know about and is also deaf, so I know about ableism. Her posts extensively explore topics like mental health themes in games, racism, the disabled experience as a deaf person of color, and more recently experiencing life while receiving intense cancer treatments for stage 3B colorectal cancer, stage 3B colorectal cancer, I don't know. And much like Banks and Hamid, IGN was unable to find any individual who had seen her in person or on a video call. IGN was unable to find a registered therapist by the name of Deborah Wan or Damaris Burrell Wan fitting her description in Michigan, Illinois, or her supposed home state of Missouri. Missouri, I don't know. um, According to Sanchez, Wan's presence in the industry is intrinsically tied to her race. I knew specifically that Cody had messaged me asking for non-white people to be involved because, per Cody's words, it was only white people who volunteered their time. Sanchez said, I wanted to provide the depth and exploration, at least for my identity, which is Latina. I only found out that Cody had a partner named Deb after I joined the database, so it was specifically to scam this one person for their database, and tried having conversations about race there. Cody had messaged me that Deb was his new partner and was going to be central in diversifying who was contributing to the database. Craven claims he was in talks to sell the database to companies like Amazon based on messages between Kate Sanchez and Craven. No further conversations about an acquisition occurred after that message. Amazon declined to comment on this story. Aside from the database, Wan's stories on her Medium page openly discuss sensitive topics like the death of a child, intense racial violence, and proper representation in games. One story, Feeling Seen Finally, in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, published on October 26, 2023, 5 days before the creation of her Discord account, extensively acknowledges and praises Miles Morales and his girlfriend Haley Cooper. One recognized their importance as being role models for black disabled individuals, namely young children. Her story recounts what is described as her own experience as a disabled black woman. Her noting that Haley made her fall in love with games. This story attracted the attention of a senior designer at Insomniac Games who worked on the creation of Haley and wanted to show his appreciation by leaving a comment. I'm a senior designer here at Insomniac, and your article was just shared with myself and others here who worked on Haley. He said, reading your article brought literal tears to my eyes. I'm so glad that you felt seen. When we were creating Haley, it was always from perspective of, you know what, she needs her shine too. How can we show that she too is a superhero in her own way? So just reading through your article just now and knowing that you felt seen is one of the crowning achievements in my career. I hope your kids enjoy the rest of the game and have a great day. Okay, I'm not great. Cool. Uh, I don't want to read that. Through this story, Medium's gaming-centered publication Crossplay, created and owned by Sean Barry. That name sounds very familiar. Who is that? Sean Barry? Definitely not that Sean Barry. Sean Barry Games? Top writer in gaming. Why does that name sound very familiar? I don't know. The name sounds really familiar. Invited Juan to become a writer. According to a comment left by the owner of the site, he immensely enjoyed her story and wanted her to become a frequent contributor. He also notes that one of Craven's stories was also featured on his site. Approximately 1 month later, he received a reply stating, I would love to have it included in your publication, and I really appreciate you taking the time to read it. Shortly after, Juan was listed as a writer for Crossplay, but only for her Spider-Man 2 piece. Despite not having a social media account like Craven's previous partners, Juan's alleged life and family drew the attention of thousands through Craven's personal social media account. On May 13, 2023, Craven published a post on X/Twitter about a 96-year-old woman named Bess, who he claimed was Juan's mother. Roughly 1 month later, Craven updated his social media to explain to others that Bess fell in love with gaming, especially The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, sharing a screenshot from a supposed conversation between the two detailing. Dude just comes up with text conversations, right? Just to tell stories, just comes up with text conversations. I feel like there was a game called Stories where you could do exactly this. I feel like dude is playing Stories with real life social media. Was it called Stories or something else? Like, it was a really old game on like phones where you could like make up stories with text conversations. Cody just never stopped playing that. Anyway, conversation between the two detailing the elderly woman's fascination with playing the game. The post received approximately 500,000 views, 12,000 likes, and roughly 3,000 reposts and 23 comments. So little comments though. I feel like this little comments makes me think all of this is fake. Just because the comments are very little. Like, it takes a lot to comment, right? But I feel like a post with 500,000 views would have more comments. Just saying. 23 is a lot, I guess. I don't know. Several hours later, Craven shared an essay published on Crossplay about playing Breath of the Wild with Bess. Okay. Months after the original post, on February 15, 2024, Craven announced that Bess had passed away in her sleep at the age of 97. That same post also advertised the essay. So he just kills people to advertise more. I feel like you don't have to come up with new people and then murder them, or not murder them, but say they passed away just to advertise stuff. You can just repost and advertise stuff normally. Like, literally, this person's marketing strategy is make up a person, have them be killed. Make up a person, you guys can't see this hand, but like, make up a person, have them be killed. Make up a person, have them be killed. That's this person's entire marketing strategy. Oh yeah, I should sit up. Vaughn's introductory interview, published by Craven on the database website, explicitly mentions Craven's relationship with Bess, citing it as integral to the founding of the site. IGN was unable to find an obituary for a woman fitting the description of Bess in Missouri during the alleged time of her death. Hi folks, we're still here. Ain't abandoned the DB. Just have a packed couple of weeks. Anybody know of any native folks that might be down to help us out with infamous Second Son? I'd like to add it to the DB, but since it features native people and cultures, I want that perspective on it if possible. Juan's mentions on Craven's social media and activity within the database Discord have largely ceased since March. Her last message to the server noted that both her and Craven were incredibly busy with work and had not abandoned the project. However, their involvement with the database has yet to be seen. As of June, she was still active on her Medium page, publishing an article about EMDR therapy, but no longer interacts with the gaming industry outside of her personal publication. Moving forward, IGN reached out to Craven ahead of publication via email. He responded requesting that we not publish the piece, but forcefully declining to comment further. Shortly after that, he began deleting his presence on social media. Currently, his ex Twitter, LinkedIn, the game content triggers database, the database's associated Discord server, and Juan's Medium page have all been removed because dude got caught. Dude got caught big time. Reporting on these allegations is no small task, especially when this story highlights multiple prominent advocates within the accessibility and disabled community. For months, myself, IGN editors Kate Sanchez and Matt Dunahue, I don't know, Matt Dunahue, cross-referenced multiple conversations between ourselves and Craven, conducted extensive interviews with multiple sources, and spent dozens of hours analyzing social media profiles as well as Discord messages. To even that ice dude is what I'm thinking. Your name is how you doing, that ice dude? As well as Discord messages to even posit the notion that three advocates are allegedly fake is admittedly hard to believe. And speaking as a disabled individual, writing a story like this is no easy feat. The disabled community is incredibly close. We defend each other's work and especially our existence within the greater gaming industry. To bring forth a story like this required immense dedication, determination, and understanding and an understanding that the accessibility and disabled community will ultimately need to heal from such a piece. However, after countless hours and weeks, we truly believe this is a story worth reporting, not only to highlight the unique nature of this case, but also to allow the varying impacted communities time to process and rebuild. Each of Craven's partners embedded themselves into varying marginalized communities, with each allegedly being. So does Cody Craven exist though? I don't know if Cody Craven even exists. Because okay, their partners and their partner's mom don't exist allegedly, but do they exist? Do we know who this person is? Each of Craven's partners embedded themselves into varying marginalized communities, with each allegedly being deaf, a person of color, queer, and having some form of major health episodes like cancer. And through Craven's varying social media accounts and presence in the industry, he was able to ensure each partner remained visible. Their work, whether written or through social media advocacy, reached thousands. From AAA studios to different community spaces, Banks, Hamid, and Juan entrenched themselves into the gaming industry. For approximately 10 years, the gaming industry has consistently supported Craven and his three partners, from awards to recognition to funds shared for alleged partners. Craven has centered himself as an authority. Like, it's a good scam. Dude scammed a lot, but like, damn. Yet no evidence proves their existence, and for the community that consists of numerous marginalized identities, losing trust in prominent figures because of alleged lies is harmful to the overall support and acceptance of these groups and games. My entire thought of this entire thing is like did the person's work, did Cody Craven, who made up three different people, who I don't even know if Cody Craven exists, like Cody Craven, are they a real person? Cody Craven, inclusive community. Is this their website? Their website is something I shouldn't open. Author at Can I Play That? Cody Craven. I want to see like a video of them. I want to see if they exist. Cody Craven. Do they exist? Uh, I mean podcast, but like video. Is this them from 6 months ago?
All right, so I am Cody Craven. You might know me from Can I Play That?
Okay, I think this is
I
them.
don't know why, but Twitter is providing
I
factual.
mean, cool, right? But also like they do exist. They exist. And they had to come up with like they were already a mental health advocate, right? But in order to drive more traction, they had to come up with these, like, I feel like at one point it's more of a commentary on how social media works, where you need to have like these out of the world stories to get eyes on things, but on the other hand, I feel like it's just a scam. Like you can create stories to drive more attention to your work, or you could just create really good work and just tell your own story and drive attention that way. Like you don't have to come up with three different people and then kill them. The funniest part is that like they just die, right? Like they make up someone to sell a story, and then they kill them to drive more eyes to that story, which is just crazy. I don't know, this I feel like it's really difficult to get gamers to take accessibility seriously. And then if you pull something like this off, and you're someone who wants to like advocate for accessibility in video games, I feel like you're just hurting the cause. So at the end of the day, I don't know if they like, you don't know the intention, right? If they had good intentions or if they were just after that bag. Like if they were just after that bag, it makes sense that they wouldn't really care as to what they were doing. But I feel like they were doing a bunch of different work that was actually pretty helpful to, accessibility in games. I feel like their intentions might have been good, but at the same time, the way they go about it is terrible, because they could just be themselves. I want to wait for a few, I don't know, years. If they ever do come back, I want to wait and see what their response is. Uh, Susan Banks will be remembered by her friends Tyler Durden, Dr. Malcolm Crowe, and the bunny from Donnie Draco. Uh, Grant, I really okay. This is quite possibly like the biggest article that IGN has ever written. Quite possibly. It took me like an hour to get through too. That was intense though. That was a lot of intense stuff. Ooh. Anyways, boop de boop. I need to set up something, by the way. I need to set up something, and that something is the fact that I don't have alerts on my stream. So if like somebody like does a follow or something, I don't get alerted. Those stream elements would tell me on Twitch, but like especially for like the YouTube side, I don't have something, and I forgot about doing that before stream. I'm just gonna write it out this stream and not do that, but next stream I should write it down here. Set up stream alerts. Great. Okay, yeah, we'll write it down there so that we actually know to do that. So burpy. I feel like we should, like, I'm not gonna read another article, but I feel like we should end the React session, or not end. I don't know. I could go for another hour of this, and then we can get to the coding stuff. Feel like we should continue it with a video. I don't know which one. Oh. So if you're new here, by the way, or if you've been watching recently and you're just here to see me code, what I've decided to do is spend the first hour, hour and a half, 2 hours of each stream, basically going over like games, news slash articles slash whatever. I'm essentially trying to like be Primogen, right? I'm essentially trying to be Primogen. because that's how they do it, and I feel like I could like pump out YouTube videos faster with this. I do still want to make YouTube videos where I am just sitting and talking about something or going through a game I just released recently or an experience or whatever. Please sub to the YouTube. There's a bunch. I have a video that's recorded too that I need to edit that's gonna come out soon. But essentially, I feel like I doing this is gonna allow me to pump out YouTube videos, like more YouTube videos, possibly clips, shorts, whatever, and then also just do the normal coding stuff, which makes me a better coder and also allows me to create projects that I can then showcase to the world. But anyways, let's see. I mean, this article is really fun. I feel like this article is going to be really fun. It's like how this person landed a contract to make Queen's Gambit for Netflix, but I feel like we're going to read that later. Let's do this one. Screw it.
So recently I was watching this very excellent video about how the creators of games like Omori and Undertale are in fact terrible programmers. And I thought,
Thoughts right away. I feel like Pirate Software talks about this a bunch. You do not need to be a good programmer to make a game. You absolutely do not need to be a good programmer to make a good solid video game. As long as it works, doesn't have frame drops, doesn't have like game breaking bugs, I feel like you can have abysmal code. But if the game is fun, it works, and it isn't like the bugs aren't game breaking, people will enjoy that. For example, like I released Martian Red recently, which by the way, go play Martian Red. If you haven't, please do. Please go follow my HIO page as well. I'm gonna mute the tab so that it's not so loud. This game took me a really long time to make. It shouldn't have taken me a really long time to make, but it did. I don't know why it's not loading up. It's slow here. It's just slow here. Why is it slow here? It's being really slow here. I don't want to download it. I can like launch it. Oh, there you go. Okay, it started. Okay, it's not that loud, but I'll also mute it. So what this game is essentially like a Martian crash lands on a planet, and then you have these two gems that you're trying to get to power your ship. I'll just go complete a level. It's really short. It takes like 2 minutes. It takes me like 2 minutes to beat this game. I don't know how long it takes an average person. I created the game, so obviously I'm fast. Also there's ground down there. Just can't see it. But yeah, like this game, let me just get the gem real quick. The gem I'm trying to talk about. Basically, you crash land on a planet, and then you're trying to power your ship with these gems that you're trying to collect. That I've like not died on this level in a really long time. I feel like streaming makes your ability worse a bit on games. So I feel like people who are like god gamers and they stream actually are god gamers. Anyways, look at that butt. Look at that butt. Right. That's one of the gems. So this gem, right? This gem thingy, this thing right here that I just got, and I need to get another to basically end the game. Literally one of the last things I programmed, and literally I committed sins to make sure it worked. Because this thing, the way that it's tracking this thing that you have a gem is that the gems are a global variable. The gems are it's essentially like a two Boolean variables. They're two global Boolean variables that affect a bunch of stuff in the game. Like it also affects that like you can't go into this door again because you've already gotten that gem. You can't go into this door again because you've already gotten the gem, and you also the animation here that happens that shows you that the gem is now acquired. The animation that played before that saw the gem coming in and going into the ship. Like these were all like literally some of the last things that I programmed for this game. Most of the game is really nicely put together. Okay, I didn't do any other like a lot of like I didn't do a lot of shortcuts for this game. I tried to do things proper, but also I was about to finish the game and I was like, fuck it, it's two things that can be a global variable. It's not that unsafe. Nothing else really accesses those global variables. I'm just gonna make them global variables, and I'm gonna be done with it because I wanted to release the game, right? I just wanted the game to be done. And nobody cares because it works. It works fine. It works fine. You can't really break the game. The game is really fun, and it doesn't break the game at all. That those being, although there was a bug initially which did kind of break the game, but again, I made it so that it doesn't happen. The game works. The game works perfectly. And I committed some programming sins because you don't want to do a lot of global variables like that, especially for something that's so tiny like that, because of the fact that it's unsafe. A global variable is a variable that anything anywhere can access and change. And so if anything anywhere can access and change that, if I accidentally changed it somewhere else, that could break the entire game, right? But because I coded the entire game, I know that nothing else is going to access it anywhere else, so I'm fine with it, and the game works. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to be the best programmer or have the best programming practices. Why did it go to that screen? You don't have to be the best programmer or have the best programming practices to create a game. As long as the game works, as long as it's fun, as long as it's not game-breaking programming techniques, I feel like you're fine. Anyways, let's continue the video. That is my thoughts. That is my thoughts about this. Let's watch.
Hey, I'm a terrible programmer.
Ooh.
And I was a hell of a lot more terrible when I wrote the piece of code that this video is about. Because when I first started working on what would eventually grow to become my dream platformer game, I was an absolute beginner. And I am not
Also, thank you, that
exaggerating
ice
when I
dude.
say that, not even in the slightest. As some of you might know, 2D platformer GODOT was essentially my first ever Unity project. And ask pretty much any game designer, myself included, and they will tell you that is probably not the way you should start out. Conventional wisdom says that you should really start by learning a little bit about as many things as you can. And if a beginner came up to me today and said they wanted to make Ghost Runner X Celeste...
So, here's the thing, right? Have thoughts. Have thoughts on everything. Here's the thing. I feel like the advice is usually to make something tiny, which I agree with. If you want to learn to make video games, make really small games that will teach you on how to make video games, and make like small, like incrementally make bigger and bigger things until you can make the thing you want to make. But also there is a little thing that I want to add to that, which is like, everybody has that like dream game project they want to do, right? I feel like you gotta, in order to keep yourself motivated, because for a really long time when I wanted to make games, I wanted to make one dream game. Either I used to like get started on that one dream game and just like not know what to do and quit, or I would, see the advice of make tiny things, and then just like try to make tiny things and not be motivated enough to make those tiny things, because I really, really, really wanted to work on that one big thing, that one dream game that I was always dreaming about. I feel like in order to come up with that motivation, you gotta break that one big giant dream game into smaller mechanics. So for example, let's say if I wanted to make Minecraft, right? If Minecraft is my dream game, I feel like I need to make a lot of smaller, tinier games that is just, let's say that is just the crafting inventory mechanic of Minecraft. That is just the mining, the swinging a pickaxe and getting something mechanic. That is just the throwing a seed and getting two chickens to breed mechanic. Like, I feel like you can break down those big mechanics into tiny little games of their own. That way you're kind of building your dream game, but actually you're just building these small tiny little games, and you can stay motivated. You're going to learn a lot more, but they're still going to be tiny games, so you're still gonna, sorry, I punched my microphone there. You're still gonna like, you're still gonna learn a lot and actually get stuff out, which, by the way, putting stuff out there so that people can play it is definitely a great way to sort of keep yourself motivated as a game dev, but two, uh just like getting other people to actually play something that you're working on gives you a big perspective on how other people can, because like when you're making a game you get really good at it, you get insanely good at something. Like for example, I can beat my own game in like 2 minutes, but like an average person it might take like 5 or 7, right? You get really good at it and you kind of get tunnel vision into thinking whatever you're doing is really good. But when an actual player comes and plays it and you come and see them play it, you tend to see all the decisions that they make versus all the decisions that you thought an average player would be making just because you made them. And that makes you really good at designing stuff for other people instead of just sort of running on intuition. Also, just playing games helps you do that too, but like playing games observantly, I feel like helps better.
I would almost certainly be advising them to start with smaller projects. But I had no wisdom, so I jumped straight in with biting off way more than I could chew. My goal was to translate the immensely deep and endlessly compelling movement of
Why is my microphone picking up random voices?
Ghost Runner into a 2D platformer. I've always loved highly technical speedrunning games. But what I didn't love in the case of Ghost Runner is how the game completely neglects to teach its advanced mechanics to players, and how little the level design seems to care about developing and testing the player's understanding of them. It's a travesty that the majority of people who played through Ghost Runner thought it was just a pretty good hack and slash game. And it's not like I blame them. If your game requires a series of YouTube tutorials to be great, is it really great? Because for those
Didn't
players
Ghost
who
Runner
either
2
know
come
about
out
the speed
recently?
tech going in or take the time to look at a YouTube tutorial, for all intents and purposes, they're playing a different game. I vividly remember hyping Ghost Runner up to a friend. One day, he comes through to my room and I'm playing the game's final boss fight, a set piece that should show the game at its most challenging and most complex. Instead, he sees this. The most basic movement tech in the game being spammed repeatedly and completely nullifying the final boss. This is an example of what happens when the mechanics you give a player aren't supported by the challenges you ask them to overcome. Contrast that with Ultra Kill.
Do I need
Ultra
to
Kill
play
for me
Ultra
is
Kill?
part of a wider pantheon of games where designers realize that speedrunning does not have to be limited to just the most dedicated players. I think a lot of designers and a lot of players correlate speedrunning with very tricky and sometimes very unintuitive and obtuse movement tech. And because of that perceived high barrier to entry, a lot of designers don't want to make a game around speedrunning. But speedrunning is just a mode of play. It's no less limiting to design around than fighting an opponent or solving a puzzle. What I find most compelling about speedrunning from a design perspective is that it satisfies the 4 Bartles player types in really interesting ways. For the Hona,
The
i.e. the
4
player who likes to
what?
see themselves improve.
The 4 what? Achievements and honors? Or like people who hone their skills, so achievers and honors. What is this? The 4 botters. What does he call it?
Compelling about speedrunning from a design perspective is that it satisfies the 4 Bartles player types.
Bartles player types. I don't know what that is. Bartles player types. 4 Bart. I guess I gotta. Bartle identify 4 main character types: achievers, explorers, socializers, user, and player types in gamified systems. I feel like I should go reach it
really
at some point.
interesting
Go read
ways.
about it at some
For
point.
the Hona, i.e. the player who likes to see themselves improve, it's pretty self-explanatory. But what about the explorers? People who get their kicks from diving into a game's systems and finding things in places nobody else thought to look. Well, speedrunning has that in spades. There are countless players who have made a name for themselves not by competing at the top level, but by discovering or helping to discover something revolutionary. And since Strata is still in early development, it's not uncommon for something a player discovered or suggested to end up influencing my direction for the game. Satisfying killers may sound unintuitive because we're not putting 2 players head to head in a zero-sum environment, but all you really need as a speedrunner who fits the killer archetype is a rival of a similar skill level and you're set. Where the Honer gets their thrills from increasing their own skill, the killer's most fun moment is uploading a new run and watching their rival get knocked down a place. Then finally we have the socializers, and oh my god, if your primary motivation for playing games is to build and maintain relationships with people in your community, you have to try speedrunning. The whole point of speedrunning is that it's a collective endeavor. And even
Never
though
thought
only one
about
person
speedrunning
can
that
hold the
way,
top
but I
spot
guess
at any
it's
given time,
true because anytime, sort of like, I mean, going back to the whole speedrunning is communism debate that happened 5 years ago at this point on the internet. I feel like that was like a 2019. There's a bee flying around my head. I don't know why there's a bee here, but anyways, fucking 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure it's a 2019 debate. But like the fact that like anytime you kind of want to speedrun something, you do end up joining a community where people are very readily available to teach you all the things you need to know to speedrun that. And I feel like one day need that because not a lot of people speedrun, and I feel like you need to be really accessible in order to get more people to speedrun, but also the fact that like it's just like people like being around other people. And I feel like speedrunning is a very good way of like a lot of people just working together for a unified goal for no other reason, just to, be proud of each other's achievements, which is really beautiful.
they are always standing on the shoulders of runners that came before.
Yeah, when people come up with a tech together, I feel like it's a victory for everyone rather than just the person who gets
So there I
the
was,
run,
with
right?
very lofty goals and a very specific set of movement mechanics that I wanted to implement. The entire goal of Strata, especially at this early stage, was just to make a movement system. But I didn't want just any movement system. I wanted something on par with the games that had inspired it, and I was willing to do as much work as it took to get there. And even though all the mechanics I'm using in this game are very much tried and true, it took an awful lot of creative and technical work to figure out how I wanted those pieces to fit together. So while I did use Ghost Runner as a jumping off point, the
I
game
feel like
ended
the
up going down a
camera
very
needs to
different
be.
path as development progressed.
You
Ghost
need to
Runner,
see
of
what's
course,
under
is
you
a
more.
3D game where you can dash in any direction. The closest analog to that in 2D is the 8-way dash, which naturally led me to my final elevator pitch before starting development on the game, which was basically Celeste, but instead of clinging onto walls, you have the slide. And just like in Ghost Runner, that slide would serve as your primary means of chaining moves together and building and maintaining momentum. When we combine it with a dash, we end up with what is essentially Celeste's Ultra Dash with an extra step. But it's in that step where a lot of the game's identity lies. For
I
one,
want to
it
learn how to
lets me
speedrun
widen the
Celeste
input
too.
window substantially, which
I
allows the
kinda
movement
learned
tech
how
to
to
be
speedrun
accessible enough to
Minecraft.
be the basis
Still
for a
need
full
to get
game.
better
And
at
on the flip side, I
the
get to
nether
dial in the
part and
properties
the
of the
end
slide
part.
to reward players for every extra
I
frame
feel like
with
the
precision.
overworld part
And
I was
just
pretty
like in
good at.
Ghost
Like
Runner,
I
there is
could
no
get
perfect dash
into
slide
the nether in about 8 minutes if I get a good seed,
jump. It all
which is
depends
fine.
entirely on
It's
the
not the
geometry
best.
of the map in front of you, which launches the skill ceiling for high-level play into the stratosphere. So, an 8-way dash, a slide, and a wall jump. Sounds pretty doable. I started out with the basic movement by copying this tutorial, and after that, it was onto
Dude, the
dash.
Ben Ducks
This
tutorial.
tutorial.
No, it's Taro Dev. Never mind. Taro Dev has a really good 2D platformer tutorial too. But there's Taro Dev and there's Ben Ducks. I feel like they have really good 2D platformers tutorials. This coming from someone who just released a 2D platformer. Yeah, go watch them their tutorials if you want to create a 2D platformer.
And after that,
By the way, Ben Ducks, literally right there.
I
Hold up.
started out with the basic movement by copying this
Right there. Coyote time and jump buffering. It's literally right there.
tutorial.
These two have
and
really good
after that,
platformer
it was
tutorials.
onto the dash. Now, to this day, I still have no idea where I went wrong when I was first coding the dash. 3 years later, I could do this in my sleep, and I wouldn't be surprised if during the edit I decided to whip up a little side project to demonstrate that. But for whatever reason, anytime I tried to dash in a direction that wasn't horizontal, it would kind of go skew-if. Like it would go in two different directions as if it was being
Dude does
deflected
visual
somehow.
programming.
And I know for a fact that it wasn't gravity because gravity is
Noise.
disabled for the entire duration of
I
the
don't,
dash.
but dude does.
This left me scratching my head for months. How could I possibly hope to create what is essentially a Celeste fan game if I can't even get the 8-way dash working? Without the 8-way dash, there is almost no vertical movement. There's no wave dashing, and not being able to dash horizontally severely limits my choices when it comes to designing levels. After months of terrible programmer IO butting his head against the wall, eventually pretty good game designer IO had to step in. It is said that limitations breed creativity. And what I realized in hindsight was that I was never going to get to be truly creative until I accepted that this was just a limitation that I had. It's true that at the time of making Undertale, Toby Fox was a really bad programmer, but he was also a very wise and very self-aware artist.
I guess so.
It was only by embracing his shortcomings and by
Toby Fox is a great artist, great musician, great artist.
the game around what he was able to do, that Toby Fox was able to create a game that was entirely personal to him, and align his artistic ambition with his technical abilities in a way that meant he could actually finish the project. And my feeling is that players not only resonated with Undertale for that reason, but it also inspired a lot of people like me. Or, you know, perhaps maybe people like you. That's your call to action for this video, by the way. Of course, you're always more than welcome to leave a sacrifice to the algorithm god if you so choose, but what I really want for this video is for you to start thinking about the idea of making your own games. Because I say again, Toby Fox is a really terrible programmer.
But also I'm gonna give this person a sub. Oh yeah, Strata.
So at this point in our story, I was finding myself at a bit of
That's kind of why I'm doing YouTube too. I want other people to make games. I mean, also I want people to play games that I make, but
that realization was
others
the
to also
exact moment that
play and
Strata
make
went
games.
from being Celeste
Mainly
meets
make
Ghost
games.
Runner
People
to
play games a
being
lot.
Strata. Let me explain. Is he going to put an ad break there? Is he not? Oh, this seems like we're 8 minutes in. So a pretty crucial component of both Celeste and Strata speedruns is that, yeah, get jebaited idiots, you owe me a like, is that generally the best way to go fast is to spend as much time on the ground as possible. And being the hyper-intelligent, Strata downloading, IO subscribing GigaChad that you are, you've probably figured out that not being able to dash into the ground changes things pretty substantially. In high-level Strata, the minutia of when you start and end a jump press really matters, because you don't have a button you can press that teleports you back to the ground. And while I did add a feeble double jump to add some of that vertical space back in, by its very design, Strata is probably one of the most horizontal platformers out there. And while Celeste is able to accomplish an awful lot with its vertical space, Strata's design is fundamentally different. And it's not like I don't use the vertical space quite liberally in my level designs. It's just that movement on the vertical plane is very precise and
I feel like what he could take, I mean, he's probably gonna get to it, but what he could take a lot of inspiration from for level design specifically is like all the Mario 3. What's a good one? Well, Grand Pooh Bear has one, like Grand Pooh Mario 3. I think they have their own. Not Mario 3, but like Mario World, sorry. Grand Pooh World, right? There you go. Grand Pooh World speedrun. Like a bunch of a lot of like horizontal platforming design happens in a lot of like Super Mario World, just because there's a lot of like going forward text that they utilize. I feel like he could really take inspiration from all like the Kaizo Super Mario World level designers.
This is a D restaurant, same path. And or sit or do nothing. Pick up golf, play video games.
Well, let's just go to a normal one.
Plus 100 pounds.
Like literally, it's just like there's not a lot of vertical movement. There's some vertical movement, but yeah, like the goal is horizontal movement, not vertical movement. He just cleared it really fast, so I can't even explain what I'm trying to say. Let's just go here. He's a speedrunner, obviously he clears it fast. If it wants to load, okay, there you go. See, like there's not a lot of vertical movement here. It's mostly the goal is horizontal movement, and then you're just kind of using the text in the level to accomplish the horizontal movement. Like in general, I feel like a lot of Mario World hacks try to get you to do those like horizontal techs, and I feel like this game could really benefit from that.
Technical. Whereas the horizontal movement is very fast and fluid. And to my mind, it's the rapid switching between these two disparate gameplay styles that makes Strata unique. And that was only possible because I accepted my limitations and allowed myself to create within them. Game design and video game development are connected but ultimately separate fields. And I'm going to drive that point home with a thought experiment that I came up with after seeing this meme. My goal here is to demonstrate that game design is something we do as people all the time. So, it's the weekend, and you and 9 other friends are off to your local basketball court for some five-a-side. Unfortunately, one of your mates has got into a fight on Facebook with one of the local wizards. Happens to the best of us. In an act of petty revenge, this wizard has removed a triangular section from one side of the basketball court, meaning no matter what you do, you and your friends cannot have a fair and balanced game. Using basketball as a jumping off point, how can you change the rules such that all 10 of you can still have fun? If you come up with something, anything, you have just designed a game. In exactly the same way that making a D&D campaign or
That's
your
literally,
family's
yeah,
house
that's
rules
a
for
good way
Monopoly
of
is game design. Because at
putting
its
game
core,
design
a game
together.
is just two things. It's a set of tools and a set of rules.
I did this same thing with a friend of mine. So like I recently went on a trip and we had a deck of Uno, but we were kind of getting sick of playing Uno over and over again. So what a friend of mine and I kind of came up with is using the cards in Uno to play a game of werewolf where one card can mean that you're a wolf, one card, like number cards can just mean you're villagers, and like it's a similar thing like that. But essentially, like I pointed it out to my friend after we came up with the whole thing, is that like what we just did is game design. And this friend is, by the way, not even remotely close to like the tech world at all, but like they were kind of really impressed by the whole thing. It's like, well, that is essentially what game design is. You use the tools that you have to create an experience, and then anybody can go through that experience. That's pretty much all game design is.
Finally, I took a bit
Also,
of
I
time
closed my
away
Twitch
from Twitter
chat.
recently.
Whoops.
Burnout is
Closed
real,
my
and
Twitch chat
I'm
by
extremely
accident.
grateful to have a community
Back.
that really doesn't mind if I take a bit of time out for my mental health. But I've been back on the grind for a few weeks now, and I have a beefy update for all of you. The game has taken a significant step up
Scapegoat.
in terms of overall quality. So improvements across the board to performance, level design, and
I
core
like that the
gameplay.
guy used
The game now
pick
has a
step.
total of 6 levels, and they're all substantially bigger than the first one. So not only is the game a lot better in terms of features, performance, and overall experience,
Makes me want to listen
but
to
it's
pick
also about
step now.
15
How you
times
been,
bigger.
Scapegoat?
And still, of course, absolutely free. In order to strike the best balance between the game's already budding competitive scene and the fact that it's actively in development and a long way from finished, I've decided to adopt a sort of seasonal model for the speedrun.com leaderboard. This video marks the beginning of Season 1. Whenever I drop a patch
Just did my first ever stream myself. Like right now, there's literally a bee flying around my head. I don't like it. How'd it go? Also, YouTube or Twitch or both. I have been well, enjoyed my day today. Nice. What'd you do?
Run,
Go give you a sub, I guess.
And your positions on them set in stone. Each player will then be awarded points based on all of their leaderboard positions for that season, and a season champion declared. I haven't quite decided on what the
This is a
reward for season
nice
champion
way to go. Honestly, like a lot of, I feel like game developers, especially like where I'm from, don't think about like a lot of the different communities that exist within games, right? Like I feel like speedrunning is a very specific gaming community that a lot of people just don't think about while making a game. I mean, he mentioned why, because like making a game for speedrunners feels like you're making a game with very specific tech that maybe normal people might not end up enjoying, which is not true though, because like Celeste is really fun to play even if you don't know any of the speedrunning techs. Minecraft is really fun to play if you don't know any of the speedrunning techs. Freaking Mario is like some of the most, funnest game. Like Mario 64 probably the most speedrun. No, Mario 64 is the most speedrun game of all time. And it is very, very. It's one of the most fun games of all time as well. Oh, cool. Did you figure out how to do it without using Restream though? 'Cause I don't use Restream. Complete my character movement on a project. I have planned to. I hope to come. Yeah, it's really fun to like code and do like work on stream, isn't it? It's kind of fun. Anyways, what was I saying? I was saying like people designing games need to be wary of more sort of like communities. Like I feel like if you can, for example, what this guy's doing, if you can create a speedrunning community behind your game, if you can create a speedrunning community behind your game before the game is even launched, I feel like once the game is launched, that speedrunning community would just carry your game towards everyone, because speedrunners also really, really like documenting their gameplay. So if that gameplay is documented a bunch and goes out to a bunch of eyes and people see what like high level gameplay can look like for your game, I feel like that is, I just said for your game instead of game just because my tongue slipped, but anyways, what I'm saying is a lot of people designing games need to be wary of a lot of the different communities that exist around gaming, and I feel like those communities can carry your game forward. And it doesn't have to be stuff like speed, like it can be stuff like cozy gamers, right? There's a lot of people that really enjoy cozy games, and you can create a game that specifically caters, or you can even create a normal, like a game that's not a cozy game but has mechanics that would be appealing to cozy gamers, like planting flowers, or like for example Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb is a roguelike. It's a very action based roguelike, but a bunch of cozy gamers enjoy Cult of the Lamb because of the fact of like all of the sort of villager mechanics in Cult of the Lamb that exist. So stuff like that I feel like is really helpful, and I feel like a lot of like game developers and designers don't think of that, although they should be thinking about their target audience at all time. I don't know. I feel like I run into a lot of designers that do not think about their target audience as often as they should. Yeah. That's how Sonic is still alive, even though you can see how Sega treats their mascot. I feel like Sonic just exists because people are really passionate about Sonic. Yeah, I'm not gonna do as many hot takes about Sonic as I've done previously, because there's literally a YouTube video that calls me out about my hot takes on Sonic. I think he actually removed the part that calls me out about Sonic from the video, but Daryl Talks Games had a YouTube video that has a screenshot of a tweet of mine calling Sonic games bad.
Will be. So I'm taking suggestions both in the comments and in Discord. Finally, a massive thank you to everybody who has either thrown me a few bucks on itch or sat through an ad or two on YouTube. I know YouTube ads suck and they're getting worse every week, but for reference, that one viral video is still giving me enough passive income to take, say, one less bar shift every month, which means more time working on the game. And last but certainly not least, my now six patron supporters.
Cool. I feel like go sub to their channel. It's a cool channel. I already subbed. I already liked. Go sub to their channel. I Own Music for some reason is what their channel is. I feel like they just forgot to rebrand. But yeah, that was a cool video. I am going to now actually go into some dev stuff. I had other stuff that we were gonna look at. I feel like the whole accessibility advocate that doesn't exist kind of just like blew everything out of it for me. This was a really fun read. I'm gonna do reacted, and which one was this? I guess it doesn't matter. The one we just watched doesn't matter. This one I'm gonna throw in there. I need to make an actual website that just lets me throw in links for stuff like this, because I don't like Notion anymore. Also, you've used up your free blocks. Oh, that's why it's not letting me make a free block. Great. So I should start on that website soon, I guess. I'm just gonna throw it into my to-do list on Folio, this app thingy. But also, I guess I'll do a React's website. Yeah, Notion sucks. Notion actually sucks now. I feel like they're not profitable anymore, and so they fucking suck. Anyways, let us jump into Godot. because I still need to get good at Godot. I was also playing through this. I need to close that. Let us jump into Godot. How do you even use Notion? Notion, like, I mean, it used to be great. You can still use, like, there's a bunch of ways to use it for like planning and like putting stuff together. I used it for a lot of stuff. Like I've used it for pretty much everything. Like Kanban boards and planning and like even just like general note taking. When I was like learning about music production a few months ago, I was using it as like a mood board for like different music compositions. But at the same time, like unless you're paying for it, I feel like it's not worth it anymore because they keep reducing the amount of stuff you can do for free on Notion. And I feel like there's so many good open source Notion alternatives at this point that like there's no reason you should be forced to pay for Notion unless it's like mission critical for like your business or whatever. I think the reasons why I use it don't really require me to pay for it either. So I'm probably just gonna either switch to an alternative or create my own alternative. That game I was playing, look, that's the game I made. That's Martian Red that just came out. I don't know if you haven't played it. I'm assuming you haven't, because it's literally the game I created. I was using it to explain how you don't have to be a great programmer to make a good game, because there are aspects of this game where essentially when I was close to releasing it, I just used like really bad programming techniques to get it done. And it doesn't matter because the game runs really nicely and really fine, and you know, no one's gonna notice, no one's gonna know, no one is gonna know. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go pee, and then when I come back, I need to figure out all of this Godot stuff. We're still figuring out how to make Conway's Game of Life in Godot. I figured out how to throw a square on the screen, but then I wanted to make a grid using my create grid function, and that's not working even though it's being called. I put it in the update function, so it's being called every frame, but even then it's not actually creating the square. So I don't know why that's not a thing. Like it's instantiating one square, right? Or maybe it's not even instantiating that one square. I'm not sure, because it could just be that this square is right here, and that's what we're seeing in the top left corner, and it's not actually instantiating anything. So I'm not sure. We need to debug. You did everything in the game. I didn't do all of the art. I did a lot of the art though. Some of it is from asset packs, but some of it is also like just me making art. I can do pixel art when needed, by the way. The butt sprite I made. The butt that you just saw. Hold on, let me show that again. Why is this bee just around me? Go away, bee. Where's the butt? You are missing the camera, I guess? I'm missing the camera? What do you mean I'm missing the camera? Oh, in Godot. I did think that I was missing the camera. This sprite. The sprite of him going up and down a ladder and showing you his butt. That was all me. I made those sprites, both the idle one and the butt squish one. I made these flowers. I made this what do you call it? The spaceship I made. The tree I did not make. I did make the flowers though. So yeah, it's like a mix of like stuff I've made and then stuff that I've gotten from like different asset packs. This, I'm not sure if the wooden box is something I didn't make the wooden box, but I think I made the broken sprite of the wooden box. So like it's different stuff. Like some sprites also, like I got them from asset packs, but then I modified them. So yeah, it's a mismatch. It's basically like anything that lets the game be a game. For the background, like the mountains and the grass I didn't make, but I think I like modified the clouds a bit. So again, just different stuff. All right, I will add the camera in check, but first I'm gonna go pee because I really need to pee. So BRB. Did you see the yo pop up on screen? I was just testing my Twitch chat. But anyways, what you're telling me is that I screwed up because there's no camera. So let me just add a camera. Camera 2D node. If I just add it like as its own thing on top, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? I also don't need you to be visible. Also, I should probably make it so that it's not in an infinite loop. So I'll take it out of the update function or the process function. Whatever y'all prefer to call it. Alright, let's see. Nope. Nothing. Not a single thing. Or maybe it's because I've hidden it. I don't know. But nothing. Not a single thing. The camera's not the problem here. The camera is not the problem here. What is the problem though? Because oh, it never got called. Whoops. It never got called. Hold up. Inside ready. Need to call the function. No, the camera is still not the problem here. Unless I multiply my, like, maybe I is too far out. No. I plus 10. You can see, yeah, but that's just the square that's there. It should create a 5x5 grid of squares. It should create a 5x5 grid of squares. That's just the square that's already there. So if I hide that, that square is gone, but like creating squares is still being called, right? And so it should create 25 squares next to each other. And it's not doing that. And I'm thinking maybe they're just off screen because I was doing like I multiplied by 10 and J multiplied by 10. But no, they're not off screen either. They're just not there. So the square is not being created, and I'm not sure why. Because pack scene is the square scene, and instantiate is not working. What if I just call instantiate inside ready? Does that do anything? Instantiate. Wait, grid square instantiate. Sorry, grid square dot instantiate. Instantiate. Like, what happens if I do that? Do we get a square? We don't get a square. So I'm not instantiating. Basically, the instantiate function is just not working. If scene file has nodes, can instantiate. Node instantiate. Okay, it instantiates the scene's node hierarchy, triggers child scene, triggers a node, notification on root node. That doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me anything. This pack scene is a node 2D, right? And that is the grid square scene. Right? This is the grid square scene. Open the scene and it opens up the square. Why won't it instantiate then? What is up? Okay, how do I instantiate something? Instantiate GODOT. Instantiate in GODOT. Ooh, I have no idea how to instantiate in Godot. It's a Reddit post from 2 years ago. It's not an orc base, it's a base. Different locations. You can instantiate scenes, but a scene is just a node saved into its own file. So the simple approach is that you take your orc base and save it as a scene, then you can instantiate an orc. What? But it is saved as a scene. Square.tscn. It's scene. Okay, how do I hold up? If I do this. No, because I don't want it to be a constant. I want it to be right. I don't want it to be a constant. Play node game manager? No. Clear. Grid square. Should be that scene. Should be this scene. Right? New packed scene. Quick load. Yeah, so scene, square, scene. That's fine. So grid square should be that. I'm confused. I saved it as a scene. It doesn't come up. Check the URL you sent. I can't see the URLs that you send because YouTube blocks them unless you sent it on Discord. Did you send it on Discord? You did not send it on Discord, did you? I'm not sure. No, I don't think you sent it on Discord, but you can't send URLs on YouTube chat. It gets blocked, so I don't actually see them. Like, it might show you that you sent it, but it doesn't show it to me. Sadly. But also, it's to stop spam. You can take your existing setup and convert a node to a scene, or just right-click or create and save branches scene. So if I do that... Oh, okay, you sent it to me on Godot for not instantiating. Is it the same thing? As others have said, you've not added it to the scene tree. First, instantiate it, add to scene tree node.add child instance, then set position. You cannot set position or transform before it is added to the tree. Must add first, then modify the position. Oh, is this like a Godot 4 only thing? Also on ready that preload. Okay. The above add child will call will add the bullet to the player scene, which you will likely not want because the position will stay relative to the player. Likely you want to... The bee just tried to attack my eye. Likely you want to either do get parent.add child or get tree.root.add child and then instant. B, go away or die. I don't know. So instead of just instantiating, so what we do is var square equals this, and then we do get tree dot root dot add child. Would I have to do this every time though? That sucks if I have to do this every time. Add child sq. And that works? No. Doesn't work. It done work. It done work. Didn't work. Oh, I can just do add child. Okay, hold on. I can just do add child. Add child sq. Does that work? Okay. So I didn't need to do the whole add tree and this and that. Okay, so what we do here is add child sq. Right, if I just do add child sq. By the way, does this kind of comment work in Godot? No, it doesn't. How do you do multi-line comments in GDScript then? Let me just Google that. Multi-line comments GDScript. Prefix every with 3 quotes. I just tried 3 quotes. It didn't work. Or maybe it's like these kind of quotes. It's these kind of quotes. Okay. Yeah, 3 quotes. There we go. I used the wrong kinds of quotes. Anyways, so let's try this out then. I use spray every freaking time to kill the bees and mosquitoes. There's food. Like, there's edible stuff in this room right now. That's why I cannot, sadly, do a bug spray. Because that means I would be doing the thing. Oh, it just adds hashtags in front of the lines if I do Control K. That's good to know. Okay, so let's uncomment the create grid. So if we add child sq here, now it should create a grid. Okay, it kind of creates a grid. It just creates a square in one spot because we gotta multiply by 10, right? Gotta multiply by 10. Okay, there we go. Kind of a grid, not really. Yeah. So really it's gonna be I and then, yeah. If I just do I and J, what happens? It's just gonna be in one spot, yeah. So it would be how big is our square? How many? It's 16, right? So it would be I plus 16, or I multiplied by 16, and then j multiplied by 16. I multiplied by 16. Alright, and then j multiplied by 16. I don't remember if it's 16 by 16, but it should be. There we go. Finally, we have a grid. Can finally make a grid, a 5 by 5 grid, and I can make it 5 by 5, or I can make it 30 by 5, and it should work as well. 30 by 5, yay. Or 5 by 30. I can just do 10 by 10 just so it's bigger. 10 by 10. Alright, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good grid. It's good grid. I also have to make sure later on that it's always centered to the camera. But anyways, learned how to make a grid. Great. Now I'm gonna have to go into Square and actually create states. So yeah, scene square.gd. So what we need from Square is that Square needs to be clickable, and then on click, it's gonna change the state of Square. Well, first we need to have states. Can I have enums in GDScript? Are enums a thing in GDScript? So enums, GDScript. I mean, there probably are. I just need to know how to GDScript enums. Okay. Basic enums in GDScript. How do I make them? So if I do enum state or state, and then I can do that, and then just say state empty and state filled for now. State empty, state filled. For now, I can just do that. So I can, yeah, I can do something based on like state empty and state filled. And I only want to do it once though. I don't want to do it multiple times. I only want to do it once. But anyways, we also need to have an array of sprites, right? An array of sprites. Also, let's just go in here. Go in here. So sprite 2D. Can I just hold a at export var what do I call them? Just sprites, I guess, for now, and have it be a sprite 2D array. Can I do that? Is that something you let me do? Expected type for collection. Oh, hold on. Okay, array in GDScript. Well, array is, wait, how do you do the thing? Hold on. Game manager. Oh, it's just okay, so sprites, we do that, and then sprite 2D is, we just tell him that it is a sprite 2D. Expected end of statement instead found. Expected end of statement instead found this. Array of sprites. GODOT. Keep an index pointing at current sprite, but how do I filling an array within a resource? Doop de doop and doop. Okay, even if I don't do that, can you just like hold a sprite like this? Oh, I didn't mean to get the square, I just wanted to get the blue. So grid blue and grid empty, right? and they just become constants. They do just become constants. Now, also, there's a signal of like on click here. Can you stop? Right. On click thingy. So Godot on pressed. Literally B is on top of me. Button press detection in Godot. I'll just connect its press signal to yeah, that's cool. How do I do that? I know signals exist. I just don't know how to get a hold of them. Object, no. Signals, groups, signals. Does the square have an on-clicked signal? No. Area 2D have an on-clicked signal? Filter signals, collision box. Collision box, 2D. Mouse entered. Emitted when the mouse pointer enters any of this object shapes. Requires input pickable to be true at least once. Mouse exited. I want it to be clickable. Okay, using signals in Godot. Here 2D child button. If it's not a button, how do I add a press signal to it? I don't want to make a button. I don't want to be able to press it. I guess I can just add a button node to it. I'm not sure. So if I add a button node to it. Team button, no. Abstract based GUI. What about control? For all GUI controls, adapts its position and size based on parent controls. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to press. I just want to be able to press container. A base class for all GUI containers. No, these are GUI things. No 2D. Collision box. How am I gonna be able to press this thing normally? Dad Dak dude. Yo. I don't know when you send that, to be fair, but yo. I'm learning Godot. Oh, I didn't change my title anywhere. Teaching myself Godot is what the title needs to be now. Since I didn't, I'm done with the React stuff. So, teaching myself Godot. Teaching myself Godot. Let me go change it on YouTube as well. Doopy doopy doopa doopy doopy doopa doopy doopy doop. Teaching myself Godot. Copy from here and paste here. Cool. Cool. Okay. We're good. Stream health is really good today. Doopy doopy doopa doopy doopy doopa. Right. I need to figure out how to click something. So on pressed signal Godot. Button press. Is there an easy way to pass a reference to a? I don't want it to be a button though. Signal Godot on anything, because I don't want it to just be a button. How about like click object with mouse? Godot. Make player move to mouse click. How to click 3D objects in Godot. This is Godot 3. I bet it still works. Stop with the...
tutorial video.
That's a really long intro.
Welcome
Or a
friends.
tutorial.
In the last Dave the Dev tutorial video, we learned how to make dynamic mouse cursors, but now we need something to click. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to interact with 3D objects using the mouse. So let's get to it. I've already gone ahead and set up a new scene and a spatial node that will become the base node for our 3D sphere that we'll be clicking in our game. I've also imported
So we need a spatial node? We need a spatial node. I feel like click objects. GODOT. Should just be a thing. How to detect a click on a sprite in GODOT. Lovely. That's what I need. It's 27 seconds. Sprite. Add a script. If event is input event mouse button and event dot pressed and event dot button dot index equals button left. Just watch your Twitch stream and it's crisp. What was your bitrate set to? Also, does OBS have multi-streaming natively now on Windows? Because how are you able to multi-stream directly from OBS? I use a plugin, by the way. It's called multi-RTMP. But did you just do it natively? Because that's kind of cool, kind of pog. Is this a good way to do it? In Godot 4, button left is replaced by mouse button left. Godot sprite button any 1%. Hi there. You can just create some invisible button. No, but I don't want to create an invisible button. That cool. No need for collision. Keep the uploads going, dude. Would be nice to watch a video about how exploratory is going. Yeah, use plugin. The very same. Oh, cool. Perfect. Okay. So I thought you said OBS, so I thought it was just like base OBS. Multi-RTMP is really good. I love multi-RTMP. I like that you can do like audio tracks for the different stuff too. I don't do it anymore, but when I used to, which by the way, I'm not playing music today. I should. Glitch X City. But yeah, when I used to like do a bunch of like Twitch streams where we would play any music ever, obviously on YouTube you can't play any music ever because YouTube doesn't like that. YouTube doesn't like that. YouTube will straight up yeet your stream if you just play any music ever, especially if it's copyrighted music. So I could set like multiple tracks where like the audio track going to Twitch would have the music, but then the audio track going to YouTube would not have the music. And I like that you can do that in multi-RTMP, which is not something I've seen. Even like paid stuff, I do some gaming streams too if I feel like it. Go for it. Gaming streams are so fun. Like I like how I'm out of frame while I'm talking. Maybe I should get rid of the mask. I'll get rid of the mask. I feel like the mask is not helping. Image mask, go away. You can see how dirty the room is. But yeah, gaming streams are fun. I mean, I did gaming streams for at least, I want to say, it's been a while. It's been almost 7 years, but like not consistently. I feel like for 3 years I was doing it pretty consistently. That's how I made my initial how I made my first content creation money was like gaming streams, which was really hype and pog and all that stuff. Let me apply a freaking crop because I don't want to see the top of. Instead of applying a crop, I can just do this. I can just do that. Yeah, so y'all see my hands more. You can just do that, right? You can see my microphone and stuff. I want to be center frame though. That's better. Okay, I'm playing Street Fighter these days, so I might have to have my friend compete with me. That's fair. If you guys can like be entertaining at the same time, that's good, cool too. Okay, okay, that works, but if I have thousands of these objects in my scene, every time I click it, it evaluates for thousands of objects. If the click is within the range, there's no quad tree optimization or anything to it. Do you know of a more performant way? I'm thinking something like Unity's Raycast with colliders. How is clicking a box so How is clicking a box so freaking complex in Godot? Pick up objects with the mouse in Godot 4. Let's see.
2019's quirky take on Spra, in which you pick up items by walking over them. Forager took a page out of Idle, they did it of the bet. And you can still pick up the items just by walking over them. You don't have to use them, and search for 2D physics. So it's gonna... Now I will do 2D. Let's click on item, and in the inspector, and for the mask, we're going to choose the player. Let's go.
Collision object 2D input pickable on. Is that something I need to do? Hold up. Inspector doesn't have it. Doesn't have it either. Here either. Where's the input pickable thing? What? Huh? What did he do?
Add another script. This is needed to detect mouse movements.
Music.
Let's
Maybe be quiet a bit.
First we gotta get collision shape. It has an animation player and it has this honey sprite. Let's click on item, and in the inspector, let's set up our collisions. For the layer, we're gonna choose the item. Only collide once it touches the player. We also have to go down to input and check pick.
I don't have input. I don't have collision either, to be fair. No, oh, there it is. Okay, it's in area 2D. So pickable is on. Pickable is on. It was already on.
This is needed to detect mouse movements. Let's go ahead and another script. First we gotta get the player, because our item needs to know where it has to move to once it's being picked up. And we're gonna do that by using get3.getFirstNode in group, and the group specified is gonna be player. Then we have to set up our constants, which is gonna be max speed, which I set to 50, and it's gonna be acceleration, which I set to 0.5. These are some values that I found that look nice to me, but you can play around with them. Then we're gonna set our speed, and it's gonna start at 0.0, and we're gonna set is being picked up, which is gonna be a boolean and starts with false. Then in the physics process, we're gonna check if is being picked up is true, in which case we have to move the item towards the player. First, we're gonna calculate speed by using lerp, that is linear interpolation, from speed to our max speed by acceleration times delta. Then velocity is simply going to be a vector from the item's position towards the player's position times speed, so global position dot direction to player dot global position times speed. Then we're gonna call our move and collide function to actually get the item moving, and we're gonna pass it the velocity. Notice that we called it outside of the if statement, which means the item will be able to be picked up even...
Okay, hold on. I haven't been paying attention. I was literally responding to an email.
If is being picked up 5.
Hold on.
Where it has to move to once it's being picked up by player. Then we have to set up our constants, which these are 0.0 physics process. We're gonna check if is being picked up is true, in which case we have to move the item towards the player max speed by acceleration towards the player velocity. Notice that we called it moving.
I just want to click on him. I don't even want to pick him up. I just want to click on him. I just want to click on
We
them.
can check if there is a collision, and if there is, whatever functionality from the scene. True. So for that, we're gonna click on the item. Over on the right, we're gonna go to Node tab, and we can implement the mouse over signal by double-clicking it and pressing connect. This adds a function to our script, which will trigger once the mouse is over our item.
Okay.
So in here, all we have to do is write is being picked up equals true, and that's all we need for our script. And finally,
I mean, we have mouse entered, but what about mouse pressed? Mouse pressed. Signal. Godot. Set up click signal. Hi, I'm new to Godot programming. You can calculate and what? Isn't the code you posted already doing this? Input event mouse button. Set up signal. What? I am trying to get Godot to recognize when I click on an enemy. How should I do this? On kinematic body input event, viewport event and shape. If event.get class equals button type and event.pressed equals true. Button index 1. I mean, that's how the other dude was doing it too. That's how the other dude was doing this too. Zam, is that Twinkie? Meldora. Yeah, it is me, but also I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Account created 2018. That's all I can see. I don't know who one Meldora is. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't know. And it doesn't let me click and check anymore either. Or does it? Hold on. It's loading. It's loading. Following since May 2020. Did you have a different name? Or last time I was here, God knows how long ago. Did you have a different name? You have 99 plus messages in my chat. Chilling, sadly chilling. It has been a while. Twinkie, it has been a while. Wait, I'm so confused. Hold on. I'm very confused. I'm totally confused because you know who Raz is as well. I'm straight up just going to oh, Entity TLK does ring a bell. Hold on. Yeah, Entity TLK does ring a bell. Yes. Yes, Entity TLK rings a bell, but also and you know who Sizzle is too. Wait, are you the person that I bought Fall Guys for so that we could all play Fall Guys together? No, that wasn't you. No, that's not you. That's not you. That was a different person. Wait, that's you? Yes, that's me. I mean, you know who Astral is and Ras is and Draken is. Entity TLK rings a bell as well. But I'm forgetting if I like called you by a different name. I mean, I do remember you now, but I don't remember if I used to call you by a different name. I'm Entity TLK. Yes. I feel like I used to call you by a different name though. I feel like there was a different name. You have a lot of chats, by the way. You have a ton of chats. I called you TLK, maybe. I don't know anymore. I don't know, and I'm trying to figure out how to freaking do freaking code in Godot right now. Okay, I'm just here to say hi. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry I put you on the spot like that. It's fine. I'm trying to figure out how to click a damn square in Godot. I have a square that makes a grid, and now I want to click them. And apparently clicking something in Godot is really difficult. No worries, no worries. Thanks for popping in though. Don't worry. Thanks for popping in after a while. It's been a while. I'm sorry I didn't remember you. It's been a hot minute. Right. How the frick do I click something? Enemy clicked, enemy button in, on ready, get tree call, group, but this is for connecting the enemies that are present in the scene at the start. We'll make sure this node is above all enemies in the tree. Kinematic body, control event, input event mouse button. Input event mouse button. Right. Signal enemy clicked. That's a signal that they created. I just want to click an object. Mouse entered object with mouse event.is action pressed click. The problem is that mouse entered event only fires in the single frame where the mouse cursor entered the collision shape. So by the time you enter the shape and then press the button, you're no longer in the event. I'd better that if you press and hold the mouse button. Do you know how to connect signals yet? I do know how to connect signals yet, but there is no signal for pressing a button. Also, hey, Adil Tariq. There's no signal for pressing a button. There's not, it's not here. Like, there's a mouse entered signal. Mouse entered, mouse exit, mouse shape entered, mouse shape exited. Input, oh. Is it input event? Emitted when an input event occurs, requires input pickable to be on input event. Is it this? Is it straight up input event? It better not straight up. The scene does not have any script. I mean, this one does though. Wait, where's my script? Square has a script. Like square.gd has a script. So how do I input event? Can I just do that? Receiver. Okay, I clearly don't know how to. Okay, hold up. On area 2D input event. That's gonna be the receiver method. So if I target script, specify a script on input event on 2D area input event. Advanced. No. Pick what? Okay, from signal, connect a signal to a method. Yes, but like, how do I, like, can I just throw it in here? Scene does not contain, it does though. Hold on. Area 2D doesn't contain a script. I don't care about Area 2D containing a script though, because I want to target method not found, specify a valid method or attack. Okay, maybe I just Google how to connect signals. How to connect signals. Using signals in Godot. We will take a look at things. 2D scene, add child node, add a button. The button does that. Okay. So connect a signal in the editor. The dock displays a list of signals available. Double click the press signal to open the connection mode, and then just click Sprite 2D and connect it. It's that simple, right? And yet it doesn't work. Okay, hold on. Let's try this again. So script isn't attached. Is it not attached? Also, it should be in scripts, but it is attached. It's right there. It's attached. It is attached though. If I go into the square scene, right? If I go into the square scene, attach a new or existing script to the selected node. Oh, I'm confused. Why is it attached in the game scene but not attached in the square scene? What's up with that? Oh, okay. I mean, can I just like do that? If I do that, it just creates a new square.gd. That's dumb. It just creates a new square.gd. I mean, I can copy paste everything that's in this one into that one, but like, why does it create a new one? It's the thing. Okay, so then if I delete that one, can I do this? Oh, whoops. Whew. So input event connect. Okay, on area 2D input event, mouse event, and then I can just do like input underscore event, input underscore event Godot. Let's see what a mouse event is using input event. If event dot key, if event is no, right, it contains, so this one, yeah. So we would basically do if event, because it emits an event. Does it emit an event? It doesn't. So if input event equals what is it, mouse dot something, input event mouse button, equals input event mouse button, I guess. I'm not sure what they're doing here. They don't use an equals at all, ever. Do they? If event is input event key, if event is, so if I can just do if event is input event mouse button, I guess. So if event input event is input event mouse button dot, no. And then I can just do the Python thing. Event mouse button. If event dot pressed, I can just do that. Like if event dot pressed, does that work? Does that work? It says it doesn't work. Expected indent block after if block. What? We made an indent block after if block. What do you mean? If expected indent block after if block. You're being weird, Godot. There is an indent block there. Expected indent block after if block. If event dot press, or I guess if input event dot pressed, I'm not sure. Node event is equal to input event, so I can just say event here, right? Event here, okay. So event, and then if event dot pressed, we can do, what can we do? We want to change the sprite, the current sprite. Check for your event here, could check for queue action or type of event. Let me try it the way I'm trying it, which I feel like is gonna fail, and then I'm gonna look into what a queue action or a type of event is. If event dot pressed, I want to change the sprite essentially. How do I change the sprite? Can I do that? So the sprite is sprite 2D, right? Do I need access to sprite 2D now? Oh, this is just unsaved. Can we delete that? Can we just delete that? What is this? I saved it by accident, but what is it? Because it's not this. Okay, so can I get like access to sprite 2D here? So if it's if event dot pressed, can we just do simply sprite 2D dot sprite? Oh, action. Okay. Oh, you said queue action there. Sprite dot. Just want to change the fucking sprite. Apply scale global transform. What is sprite 2D? What is the dot texture? Dot texture equals grid blue. Can I do that? Will it let me do that? And then non-existent function pressed in base. Oh. Okay, what if we just do this and see if this works for now? Okay, lovely, we can click them, but like we can also right click them or do whatever, right? Or middle click them. So it doesn't like, it's not fully working, but at least there is an event. So dot, like there should be a mouse input event mouse button dot something that tells us that it's a left click and not just a click or anything. Okay, hold on. Let me look up what a deal, or a deal. I'm doing, American accent is a deal, but then if you're just doing normal Pakistani accent, yo boy, it's a deal, Tariq. Um, what did you say? Could check for action or type of event. So input check for type of event. Event type, Godot. Godot. Okay. Input events. I just went back to the same exact page. If event.press and event.keycode is this. Input.isAction pressed UI right. So you can set up your input map in this way. Okay, so I gotta go do stuff with input map. Is what I am being told. Although I feel like I just did it without that. I literally just did it without that. So maybe not. On Wear OS devices, it's this. Mouse and input coordinates. Hold on. Event is event mouse button click. Print mouse click unclick at event position. Event is if event dot button index is mouse left. That's what I need. So hold on. If event dot button dot underscore index is mouse button left, sprite.2d texture becomes blue. So, and then right click doesn't work, but left click works. Great. We have clicking on boxes. Lovely. I feel like my camera should be zoomed in a bit. Okay, why do you have a script? Shouldn't have a script. 420 LB. Can I delete that somehow? Close. Detach script. Lovely. And if I save, but I wanna. The script is attached here, but it's not attached here, which feels weird. But it still works. I don't know why. Anyways, let's move the camera a bit closer. Or make it bigger somehow. How do I do that? How do I make it so that the camera is close? Hold on, let me just drag you here. This is not how big it looks in game, by the way, so how do I make it so that it looks big in game? Oh, I mean 100% is this. That's how it looks as well. Zoom by 600. Zoom by 600. That's a lot of zoom, sir. I like how Square 2 has a script. Wait, why does Square 2 have a script? Hold on. Yeah, no, zoom does not do what I think it does. If I do 10 zoom. Okay. It's showing me the camera right there. Great. If I set zoom to 1. Then it's this. If I set it to 2, then it's that. I feel like 2 zoom is fine. I feel like this is not the way to do this though. There should be a better way of doing this, but we're gonna figure it out later. Right now, we can click these. and it does the thing we want it to do. I can actually delete square from here since like game manager is what's actually creating the grid, right? Yes, game manager is what's creating the grid. Okay, we have a pressed state and an empty state for square. For the game itself, to make Conway's Game of Life, we need to have a pause state and a play state, and then in the play state, the squares would do their thing, and then in the pause state, they would not do their thing. Right? That's how Conway's Game of Life works anyway. I need to go see the rules of Conway's Game of Life anyway. I'm not doing fully Conway's Game of Life. My Game of Life is gonna have different rules eventually, but I think initially we gotta do Conway's Game of Life. Also, I like how Google has a custom page for Conway's Game of Life. We can pause it too. Sweet. Allow Google to access your location? No. Conway's Game of Life. It's also known simply as Life, is a cellular automation devised by the British. I don't care. Here's the rule. Any live cell with fewer than 2 neighbors dies, as if by underpopulation. Any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbor lives on to the next generation. Any live cell with more than 3 live neighbors dies, as if so it needs to look at like the 8 cells around it. What's up? I'm curious to ask, do you play D&D? I do play D&D. Well, I haven't played in a while. but I have played D&D in the past. I would ask a Star Wars. May I ask? Said it twice and it broke my brain. Would a Star Wars Evil D&D campaign maybe interest you to join? It's a political strategic theme. See, here's the thing. I love D&D. Absolutely love D&D. I've never seen Star Wars. I am sorry. Never seen a single Star Wars. I can tell you my beginner's interpretation of having never seen Star Wars, of what the story of Star Wars is, but I've just never seen any of the movies or anything from it, so I don't actually know what happens. I know that there's a dude named Luke who was abandoned by his father in a desert place, and then, you know, shenanigans happen. At some point he goes to a planet where he gets trained by a green goblin looking thing called Yoda, and then he meets his dad again, but then his dad is like a bad guy, and then he's like, no, Luke, I'm your father, and he's just like, no, and his hand gets chopped off. And that's basically Star Wars, I think. I think that's most of the good story of Star Wars, right? And then there's like stuff with like pod racing or whatever. I don't know where the pod racing comes in. I think the guy from Taken is in one of the movies, and he chops off somebody's hand. And Darth Maul is a thing that looks really cool. I don't know where any of that stuff happens, but I know it happens because I've seen clips of it. Palpatine is the Emperor. Okay, which one's wait, Palpatine's the guy from the meme that's like, I love democracy, right? The I love democracy meme? Is that Palpatine? Is this Palpatine? I don't know. I mean, it says Palpatine. No, it doesn't say Palpatine. I don't know. Are these the same people, by the way? Is this the same guy? I think this is the same guy, right? I'd really like to see if you'd at least consider. I mean, I can be a part of it, but like, I don't know Star Wars. Like, I would be a part of it if you want me to be, but again, like, I feel like I would be a hindrance to your campaign. If you want me to be a part of it, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Like, I'm at my Shio on Discord. But like, But like, are you sure that I would be an asset to your Star Wars D&D campaign? To be honest, you look like the ideal dark. You want me to be dark? I mean, I can just like come in and go like, I love democracy. Hey, wait, he's the guy with like electric hands, right? Electric hands, Dark Emperor. Hold on. Is this the electric hands guy? That's. I mean, I'm assuming that's him. Electric hands, Dark Emperor, Palpatine. Maybe that's gonna bring something up. Yeah, he is the electric hands guy. Yeah, totally. I'll be electric hands guy. That's all. That's all. That's my character trait. It's just, you know, I love democracy and sure, why not? I'll be electric hands Dark Emperor if you want. Darth Sidious, Palpatine, are those the same people? Listen, again, I haven't seen Star Wars. So I don't know. Who's Darth Sidious? You're serious? I mean, I can be it, I guess. I don't know. They're the same, yes. Oh, okay. Wait, unlimited power. Also, I'm looking at Google. Listen, I don't know Star Wars. I'm sorry. Unlimited power Darth Sidious. I feel like this is probably a meme. Where are you from? I'm from Pakistan. That has nothing to do with me not knowing Star Wars, by the way. People in Pakistan fucking love Star Wars. I'm just stupid. Oh, I've definitely seen this in memes. Oh, there's also like this guy. I think he turns into Darth Vader. There's a scene of him going, of him being told, "You were the chosen one," and then he gets cut in half. I know that scene. Your accent sounds American, is why I ask. Oh, I mean, I've spent most of my life on the internet, so I just picked up the accent. Sure, you can ask any questions you want. This is such a funny scene. I'm just gonna laugh. I've also lived in a bunch of different countries, but technically I'm still Pakistani, from Pakistan.
He must live. Please don't. I need him. Please don't. No.
Damn. Do people's hands just get chopped off? So you have the LGBTQ tag that's allowed in Pakistan? No disrespect. I mean, people exist everywhere. But most Arab countries forbid this. Pakistan is not an Arab country, just by the way. It is not in the Middle East. It is right next to India, which is, although India and LGBTQ don't really vibe either, and Pakistan and LGBTQ don't vibe either, but I, as someone who's just making a community on the internet, I vibe with LGBTQIA, so you can be LGBTQIA and you can be in this community, and we are completely okay with that. Sounds so stupid. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, I sound stupid when I talk about Star Wars, so like, it doesn't matter. Damn. I want to do that in a D&D campaign. Just go, power! I am even part Asian. I should know this. That's fair. That is fair. No worries. No stupid questions. Part Indonesian. That is cool. That is cool. Now I'm kind of imagining how you look like when you say that, so I'm gonna not ask any further questions. Anyways, back to the Godot stuff. So we can click things, and they turn blue when we click them. I need inside game manager. Actually, this game is probably gonna end up taking place in just one script, but I need essentially, this is not game manager, this is game manager. So I need to make a state enum here as well. Actually, game state is what I'll call it. So it's different than the square state, which I didn't actually make a state enum here. Anyway, I look olive skinned like you, basically, a little white but olive skinned. Yeah, that's usually how Indonesians look like Polynesians, essentially. Polynesian, which I don't know if Polynesians and Indonesians, like, they probably share, because it's two island nations, right? So y'all probably share ancestors. but I'm not gonna get into a lot of race stuff. But this is how I imagine, like, well, not exactly like that, but you know, same kind of skin tone, basically. Except, you know, Polynesians. Damn, damn, damn. It's not opening, but damn. So we will play in Discord, voice and video. We will play twice a month. Can you just like DM me? Do you use GMT? GMT is oh, the time zone. Okay, I'm like, what's GMT? Plan to start next month. It's a custom homebrew. We have 2 groups, Mondays and Friday groups. We'll play at 1800 GMT. I am GMT plus 5, so 1800 plus 5 is gonna be 11 p.m. for me. I could do it. It would have to be Friday though. I can't do it on Monday. It would have to be Friday because, you know, there's a weekend after Friday that I could do, you know, Saturday and Friday, but Monday is tough. Monday would be tough. I show the time in advance. No worries. Yeah, I would say Fridays would be nice. Mondays might be like I could pop in on Mondays, but I would have to type. Like I couldn't speak. I could do video and type, but I can't make noise that late at night on Mondays. Also, I want to go to bed early on a weekday because I technically get up early to work. But yeah, Friday's good. May I ask a question for now? Again, you can ask any question you want. Please do link up with me on Discord after this though. Again, at my Shio on Discord. Could you chat this evening to meet up and discuss this? I can chat in... It's 2 p.m. right now. Yeah, I can actually chat at around, you know, basically at 9 p.m. my time. Anytime 9 p.m. onwards my time, I could chat. Tonight, probably would not do video though that late, but I can be on voice. Yeah, cool. As long as it's not too late. All right, we were trying to do Conway's game. Oh, for sure, I'll message you in this. Cool. Lovely. I need to know game state, enum state. Wait, I did make state here. I don't need state here anymore just because I'm just directly referencing the thing. So game state, and then we can call it it would be a paused state, it would be a play state, right? Play state. I feel like I'm gonna have to figure out how to progress it frame by frame versus real time. Because technically the game should progress frame by frame as well if it's Conway's game of life. Really looking for a new friend as well. Haha, you're dope AF. Thank you. I hope you're dope AF as well. Even though you're a Star Wars nerd. I'm kidding. Star Wars people are cool. I've just never seen them. You can join my Discord, yeah. Just do exclamation Discord in Twitch should work, I think. If you do exclamation Discord on Twitch, it should work. On YouTube, it doesn't work and I have to give people a link by hand. Let me know if that link works. Otherwise, I'll just like copy paste a link for you. That should lead you to my Discord, which is kind of dead these days because I haven't done much there in a while. I heard the join sound, so I'm assuming that you were able to join. Okay, so we have a game state, I mean we have pause state, and then square needs to be able to know if it's... God damn it. So I need to detect the neighbors, right? How would I go about detecting the neighbors? If I'm not holding on to... This is basically this is a Dijkstra's depth first search algorithm question at this point because I need to detect the nearest neighbors. Your server says Galaxy. You've been the Dark Emperor this entire time. That's fair. My entire channel is space themed. It used to be called Twinkie Talks, and we would talk about twinkling stars. Although I still sign off my streams with by calling everyone a star. But yeah, my entire channel is space themed. That channel is very space themed. I also call subscribers our stars, and then people who are just joining in are like explorers or asteroids. And yes, I have an overlord tag in my Discord. It's true. It's true. I've never seen Star Wars, and yet I've been taking inspiration for it for ages. I'm not evil though. And I don't actually like democracy that much. Well, technically, I don't know. I don't want to get political. Why is there an error? Expected after enum name. I did do that. Oh, it's supposed to be okay. No space. No space. No space. Okay, how am I going to detect the squares that are next to this square? Because basically I need to pass in those squares and states into this square. So if I have a function here that is essentially like function is valid, for example, right? This function needs to know, needs to basically know what the neighboring squares are. This function needs to know what the neighboring squares are, what their states are, and then if any of the, we would basically like for each neighboring square, I'm just doing pseudocode by the way, for each neighboring square, we would be seeing if each neighboring square is valid or not, and then also if like more than 3 of them are valid, we just kill it. So like there's like 3 different conditions essentially. Most people in Asia mostly are progressive or socialists, aren't they? I wish they were. Most people in Asia are really conservative. Extremely conservative. Depends on what part of Asia you're talking about. Yeah, no, but no, most of Asia is very conservative. Yeah, that's what I need to do. By the way, do you do game dev? How did you even find my channel? What is your city in Pakistan? You don't need to know my city to know the clock, but I am GMT +5. You can know that I am GMT +5. I'll type that down for you. I'd love to discuss all topics if you want. I feel like I'm being asked on a date. This is crazy, strange. Unlimited power. I can't wait to scream that in a D&D campaign though. All right, we are here. Yeah, I only play tabletops. I don't play PC games. That's fair. I meant more like, do you develop? If you were using tilemap, this would be a bit easier. Otherwise, you gotta do some custom stuff. I don't want to use tilemap though. I tried using tilemap. I didn't understand tilemap. I can try doing it with tilemap too. I just want to make a tilemap grid. Fair. I mean, all I need to do is I need to, inside the game manager, when I create the actual grid, I just need to add it to an array that can keep track of the entire grid. And that way I kind of have access to grid locations, and I can just like, when I pass in a square, I can just like know its location, and then that way I would know like the 8 squares around its location. So it's not that difficult to do, and I don't need to like apply any fancy algorithms. Like if we're doing it brute force, I don't actually need to apply any fancy algorithms there, because I don't need to search for a grid location if I just pass in a grid location. So it's yes, it is 224 right now, but when you sent that it was probably 223. I'm in the Twitch recommendeds. Damn son, I did not know that would be a thing. Maybe it's because I'm talking a lot. I know Twitch, in order to recommend, the Twitch algorithms basically takes into account what you're saying, what you're talking about. so they're listening at all times. Also, if you're on YouTube, by the way, and you're on mobile, when I say subscribe, does the subscriber icon light up? If you're not subscribed to my channel already, that is. But when I say subscribe and when I say like, do those light up? Because they're supposed to light up on mobile, but I don't know if they light up for me. You've already DM'd me on Discord. Thank you. I did see. So 20 there is in 6 hours. Yes, 8 p.m. or it would be p.m. right? Yeah, 8 p.m. or 20 is here in 6 hours. So I can see you then. The only thing is I'm gonna get off from a work meeting at around 8, so I might not be exactly free at 8, but I can try. I can definitely try. Like I might be like a few minutes late essentially. But yeah, we can talk. Okay, so when I am creating the grid, which Game Manager creates, I just need to create an array that takes into account, how about we just have a variable in square? So how about we just have a variable in square, that is the position variable, right? No, not the position, but like the coordinate position, coordinate position, and that's gonna be, can you have variables like this in Godot? Does it let you? Expected after dictionary key. Oh, so it creates a dictionary, right? How do I have a... I mean, I can make it a dictionary, that's true too. Okay, dictionaries in Godot, hold up. Let me just Google that. Dictionary... I didn't spell that correctly, don't at me. I spelled a dictionary. Dictionary Godot. I can do 19 or 20 for easier for you. I'm awake early. 20 probably works. 20 works. Just that like I might be just a little bit late. Lol, dude, was looking at your past streams 4 years ago. You shaved your head. That's the ideal villain look. Yeah, I shaved my head very recently too. I don't usually have a bald head, just by the way. I shaved it like 2 months ago. Usually I have hair. Please, don't assume I'm balding. Even though after shaving my head this time, I kind of noticed that there's like a little bit of a bald spot here, which is scary because I'm getting older, but I have hair, okay? Isn't it brutal there in Asia? Humidity? I mean, I have an air conditioner on right now, so I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, usually yes, very, very brutal. Very, especially very hot these days. It's currently, my computer doesn't tell me the temperature anymore. Otherwise, you would be able to see it. It's telling me the temperature inside my computer, which is a nice toasty. The CPU temperature is 75, but everything else is fine. It's like really cool in there because I'm not doing anything big. What is the temperature outside? It is currently 32 degrees outside Celsius, which in American would be 32 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. 89 or 90. We Americans use, yes, that's why I said in American it would be 89. I know you gotta translate for Americans. Pretty nice right now in FZD. Really? I mean, it's nice right now in Karachi too. It's raining. I'm not in Karachi currently, sadly. And that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, wait, I was looking up how to do dictionaries in Godot. How did we get here? Dictionary in Godot. Dictionary is a key value pair. We know that. Oh, so you can just, okay. I don't think I need to do a dictionary then. Or I guess I can, because like it'll be X and Y. Right? It'll give me the X and Y, so I guess we can. Yeah, I guess we can. But I want to, I feel like dictionary is a bad place to do this. How about I just have two variables, a variable called X and a variable called Y, so I can just call it coordinate X and coordinate Y. So really it's just like co-X, and co-Y. Co-Y, and do I have to define them here? Expected end of statement. Okay, so it doesn't work like freaking Python where you can declare two variables back to back. Doesn't work like Python where you can declare two variables back to back. Does that work? That works. Okay, so in game manager, variable square, add square. So sq yeah, I and j pretty much. So co underscore x is gonna be equal to I, and co underscore y is gonna be equal to j. Oh, sq, sorry, sq dot, yeah. Sq dot. I should probably do getters and setters for this, but like we're just balling, so it doesn't matter. Let me just print those out. So printing square. Wait, inside this, printing square with coordinates. Can you do this in Godot? Sq dot co underscore x. And sq dot co underscore y. Can you do that in Godot? Okay, you can do that in Godot. It's a little poopy, but we can just do this. There we go. Expected expression. Twitch and YouTube should have chat interoperability, not gonna lie. No, because they're competitors, so they don't do it together. But like I want to create something that can do that essentially, where well it like you in the YouTube chat won't be able to see. Like I guess I can add that where you in the YouTube chat can, or you in the Twitch chat can also see what somebody said in the YouTube chat, but I feel like you can see that on my screen since it pops up like right there, and they pop like it doesn't differentiate between who's on YouTube and who's on Twitch. But like for me as a streamer, so that I don't have to have two chats open, I want to create something that can just do it for me, so that I can like see, you know, just like Adil said this and then Duncan said that. You're probably my age, 30. Wait, I need to freaking. I need to catch up. We get that in Ohio. Oh no, dude's in Ohio with the Rizzler. I'm not 30. I'm old though. Hold up. I didn't realize AC was a thing there. What, you didn't think Asians had AC? I mean, technically a lot of people in Europe don't have AC, but they also live in cold countries, so it makes sense. I know most Europeans can't afford AC, so I assume Asian. Oh, we have like tiny ACs though. We have like one single unit ACs, and most Europeans have single unit ACs too. I know that American homes have like built-in AC where it's like more like HVAC, where it's like the entire house has a vent running through it that's running AC. Most Asian or European homes don't usually have that. They have single unit. You're older than I am, younger than 30. I hope I don't look older than 30. I also said Skibbity Rizzler with the Ohio Rizzler just now. I feel like if I was older than 30, I wouldn't know what those words. I don't know what those words are right now, but I'm almost 30, okay? I'm almost 30. I still have a few years though. I don't want to think about it. Oh, you have two huge AC units, fair. There are bots that do that, but could be better. Twitch and yeah, there are bots that do it. I just want to make my own solution. And also like I don't want there to be, technically I have a bot that does it. Like Streamlabs is what's doing it right now. The thing you see over there that's like sending both chats in both places. iPhone bigger than my, this is not an iPhone. This is not an iPhone. This is an Android phone. This is a Poco X3. I technically do have an iPhone that I don't use. YouTube Music is just like telling me that they just gave me a free gift, but I already pay for YouTube Premium, so I get YouTube Music for free. Also, a friend just sent me a snap that I just looked at. It looked like an iPhone. I prefer Apple. I do not prefer Apple at all. I'm also like a developer. Uh, and like making anything on Apple is just it's just garbage. It's just straight up garbage. Okay, how do I do a print? I don't even know how to do Python print statements very well. Like what I'm trying to do in Godot currently would be like the way I would do it in Python is very, very not efficient. And I feel like I'm doing the same in GD script right now. See, like with like Apple creates really cool stuff that like that is really fun to use. Like I have an iPhone 15 Pro that I can use for filming stuff, but at the same time, like trying to create things on Apple and get it working everywhere is a nightmare, and they force you to use their own stuff. Like they force you to use freaking Xcode if you want to code, and nobody wants to use Xcode. I don't know why Xcode exists. It should not exist. But if you want to create anything for like an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod or a freaking iMac or whatever, you have to end up using Xcode in some capacity, and Xcode is just straight up garbage. Also, in general, like if you want to develop anything for the Apple infrastructure, they just want you to use their own Apple stuff and they don't want you doing anything for other people. That kind of sucks. Also, thank you so much for the sub. I don't have alerts enabled right now, but you are now a star in the Twinkie Galaxy. Duncan, you are now a star. Thank you so much for subscribing, dude. Can't wait to play D&D with y'all. So there's a bee. The bee's back. Okay, GD script cheat sheet. Printing to print out a basic statement. I don't want to print a basic statement. I want to print an advanced statement. No. How do I put a freaking thing between things? Because you agreed to negotiate being our emperor. I felt like I should have support you. Fair. Negotiate is a nice word to use there. Oh, okay, so it does do this. So what I'm trying to do is pretty much how you do it. Yay, I guess. Close the game. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is actually how you do it. Then why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Why did it not work? It should have worked. Oh, it didn't work because there's 2 commas. Okay, so now we would have coordinates for every square. We have coordinates, right? So when we do validate, so if we have a function called func is valid, you can have coordinates there or nothing, right? Or it could pass in no, yeah, if you have coordinates there, then you know the box is next to it. The only issue is square itself would not have access to all the boxes next to it. So I feel like this what if I just pass a coordinate and pass its no, that's still like we need something like a grid manager that can validate a square essentially. Where you can pass it the coordinate of a square, it goes to that square, it looks at all the freaking squares next to that square, and then it validates if that square should live or die in the next thing essentially. That is if it's a played state. The only thing is I'm gonna have to do this for every single square, every single frame, which could get inefficient. What I could also do is I could maybe have 2 arrays. So one array is just keeping track of all squares, while another array is probably keeping track of just the squares that are alive, i.e. filled. And then all we have to do is just go through every single alive square, every single frame, which is still a lot cheaper than doing it for every single square, every single frame. Yes. I don't know how cheer bits work. It's fine. Thank you so much for the 1 bit. I feel like I should add alerts again. I don't have alerts anymore, and it's kind of bumming me in the back. But thank you so much for the 1 bit. Thank you. That's how you cheer bits. I feel like nobody uses bits on Twitch, and like I barely see bits being used on Twitch. The bee's back. Yeah, I barely see bits being used on Twitch anymore. Duncan, you're cool. I hope you stick around, especially in the Discord. Right. Yeah, I need to do this. So we're gonna have to create like a grid manager because I don't think validating a square inside itself is gonna be as helpful as we think it's gonna be. Why did I get disconnected from my chat on my phone? Why'd that happen? Okay, there we go. We have all chats. I like that the Twitch app actually lets me take advantage. I gotta run at the moment, but I'll be talking this evening. Sure. I will reach out to you, or you can reach out to me when the time comes. Either way, it's fine. You exercise really. I also like to exercise really early, just because it's the easiest thing to do in the morning, and as the day progresses, it gets more difficult to exercise. Just so yeah, totally agree. Take care, and thank you so much for the sub again. Right. I hope we reach out as planned. I hope we do as well. Okay, so instead of, I mean, game manager can act as grid manager right now because that's what it's doing. It's creating a grid and then it's, managing the grid. So I don't really need to have a separate thing called grid manager. What I do need to have though is, an array of these squares essentially, and each square contains its own coordinate, so that's fine. How do I create arrays of squares? Thank you for your genuine interest in dope AF personality. I like being called that I have a good personality, but that also means that I am okay. I'm not gonna self-deprecate. Thank you so much. No worries. Unlimited power. Right. Arrays in Godot. Arrays in GD script. Arrays in GD. Fucking go away, B. Go away, B. I'm not saying go away, Duncan, by the way. There's a bee flying around my head that keeps coming back. Arrays can be multi-typed in Godot. That's pretty freaking cool. Variable square array. Can I just do this? Variable squares. Right, so does it let me add to it? Like, can I just do like squares dot add, squares dot append? There we go. Squares dot append sq. Squares dot append sq. So that I have access to every single square inside of that. Great. And then instead of doing this, we can do func. By the way, are these functions public or private? Like, are all GDScript functions public or private? Like, can I call them from outside? Because what I want to do is I want to do enable, right? And then, oh, sorry, that's different language. Sprite 2D dot texture is equal to grid blue. Basically, that's what I want to do here, so that now here is just like an enable. Right? Is enable something that I can't use? I don't think so. I think we should be fine. If your ego exists, embrace it. That sounds kind of toxic. Did you mean like don't self-deprecate? I was gonna self-deprecate by calling myself ugly. I feel like I shouldn't call myself ugly. That's what I meant. Let's just make sure that works. Refresh. Yeah, that still works. Lovely. Okay, and then squares dot append sq, so when we validate a square, we can either enable it or disable it. Basically, so Should have a func called disabled as well. Function disable, and then that just sets sprite 2D dot texture to grid empty, essentially. Great. Okay. So disable does that, and enable does the other thing. Go away. Right. Bloop, bloop, bloop. We have a disable and enable, and then we can just validate the grid. Which would be us going through all squares, checking if they're enabled. So, oh, we should have probably a boolean that's also like var is enabled. Is enabled. I feel like I'm using so many different types of like cases. Var is enabled, and we'll just do false initially. So inside enable, it would be like is enabled. May I ask, do you have a hoodie with a deep hood? I do have a black hoodie that I can wear. I don't know how you define deep hood though. I do have a black hoodie though. I can wear a black hoodie. Is enabled can now be false. The bee literally sat on my nose there. I don't know if y'all not disable. False. Go away. Could you show it on stream? Give me 1 second. I just need to figure this out first. So hold up. I need a function called validate. Validate grid. That's what we'll call it. Validate grid. Right, validate grid. Wrong language. So for I in squares. For I in squares. If I dot, or I guess I should do for square. For square in squares, if square dot is enabled, print just print enabled, right? Print enabled. I guess I'm gonna have to validate script on every frame right now. I feel like I should figure out a way to do that. Do that in a better way later. Right. Okay, let me save. So oh, I mean it's gonna say enabled every single frame when it's enabled. Also we should do like an else print disabled. Oh god. It is just going for miles and miles. Right, sorry. Yeah, was there any enabled in there? There might have been like 1 or 2. Anyways, yeah, it just prints at every frame so that it's not gonna work. But yeah, like we're gonna have to figure out how to validate grid in another way. Okay, let me get you the hoodie, I guess. 1 sec. Here be. Unlimited power. This is the hoodie. Hopefully this is good. Also I haven't played the music in a while. There we go. It's not that deep, to be fair, but I can do this. Okay, now I can't see. I concur. Alright, so Square is enabled, it does that. That's just what Validate Square does right now. I need to check if the squares next to it are enabled, right? And then print true. So if square in square, I need something that returns the square when I pass it the coordinate, or returns the coordinate when I pass it the square, basically. As our emperor, would you be a dictator, or what's your preference of government? Could you imagine socialism in Star Wars? I mean, if I could make socialism in Star Wars, I would make socialism in Star Wars. See, I haven't seen Star Wars, so I don't know what government they actually have. Would you be a dictator? I mean, listen, if we're role-playing and I'm supposed to be playing an evil character, I'll go full evil. I'll go full tyrant. And I don't mind doing that for a roleplay campaign. But also, like, I would just like pure anarchy. If I was running something, I would like to run it with transparency and yeah, but everything free for everybody. That's how I would run something if I were to run it. Clearly, I don't run things though. But obviously, like, if it's a campaign and you want me to be evil, I'll be evil. I don't mind being evil. Like role-playing evil. Right, so what I need to do is, like, once I have a square, I need to get the coordinates of all the squares next to it, right? I need to get the coordinates of all the squares next to it. So that would be 8 different squares, essentially. I feel like people nowadays misunderstand others. I feel like people misunderstand others nowadays, to be fair. IRL, if you're evil, it's people's perception, now necessarily who you are. What? I'm so confused. To be fair, IRL, if you're evil, it's people's perception now. If it's people's, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, if you're evil, like everybody thinks you're evil. IRL. If you're IRL, it's not it's not necessarily who you are. I missed. Okay, fair. So, so if people IRL think you are evil, you are not necessarily evil, is what you're trying. Yeah, that's true. That is true, but I feel like there are some people that are actually evil IRL that might not be like perceived as everybody to be evil, but they're pretty fucking evil, right? Right? Like, anyone who's trying to scam somebody out of money is pretty fucking evil, right? I don't know why my brain went to scammers first, but like, I feel like scammers be evil. Like, you can make an argument that scammers need to feed their family, but I feel like scammers be evil. Scammers low-key kind of be evil. My brain is like fogged up right now. So, get neighboring squares, basically. I need to get the neighboring squares, essentially. If it's an array, can you have 2D arrays in Godot? Because I feel like 2D arrays would make this a lot easier. It won't actually make it a lot easier. Since I have the coordinates, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it actually doesn't matter because I have the I and the J value. I can just go put the I and J. No, I can't put the I and J value in squares because squares has one value. Kinda matters. I can just do I plus J modulo the total length, and I would probably get it. Yeah. They can, but it's hard. True, but I would also call the people who get scammed are yeah, true. People are gullible. That doesn't mean you have to be evil and take advantage of them, right? Because like gullible can also be just like an old person who is saving their who you know, who doesn't know how to live with technology anymore because it's just not of their time. So they're kind of gullible and they get scammed because they just don't know how tech works. They enact the payment process. Scammers can't get it without it. Yeah, like an old person who is being tricked by a scammer because they don't know how tech works. Is it? I wouldn't call that gullible. I would call that innocent, more like, right? And they're being victimized. I mean, the world is made of technology. You can't just say like they shouldn't use tech. Are you a scammer, Duncan? Am I about to be scammed? Am I about to, like... I'm thinking like I'm joining a D&D campaign for freaking to play Palpatine or something. And then the next thing you know, you're going to be asking for my freaking credit card details. Is that what's about to... I mean, that's a really long scam. Considering you gave Twitch... Like, you gave me $5 in a sub. That's a pretty long scam to run. If it means you're losing $5 in the process. Yeah, I mean, you can argue for the innocence of anyone in any scenario. That's why lawyers exist. But like, I feel like it's case by case. Like, obviously, I can't say universally scammers are evil because there might be a situation that requires, I don't know, scamming to get to a utilitarian and a utilitarian outcome. But I feel like, yeah, it's just me talking at this point. Haven't coded in a hot minute. So I'm like, feel like I should just stop. Emperor butchering scam. Yeah, I feel like I'm in an emperor butchering scam. Oh god. I feel like, yeah, we'll figure out validate grid some other time. I feel like I should just go eat something before I have a bunch of meetings. Sure, I'm not. I'm gonna find someone to raid on Twitch and I'm gonna end on YouTube and I'll go eat something. And then we can figure out validate grid. Either I can figure it out offline or we can figure it out later. I also have like actual other work stuff to do. That's not Godot. This is just literally me trying to teach myself Godot by making Conway's Game of Life. But there is actual other work that I need to do. I usually work in Unity day by day, but hopefully I can learn Godot with this project and then do a bunch of other projects in Godot and just be using Godot all the time so that I don't have to feel weird using Unity. See you this evening then. No worries. See you. We are still cool. I'm just joking around. It's chill. Cool. I'm gonna close out of Godot. And let's find someone to raid on Twitch. If you're on YouTube though, I am gonna go head on over to Twitch, by the way, if you want to be part of the raid. A raid, for those people that may not be familiar with Twitch, is you just send everyone who's in your stream to another stream, and that way people can support each other. But go over to Twitch because I'm about to end on YouTube, and if you've been watching so far, I just want to let you know that you are all stars. Each and every one of you is made up of particles that stars were once comprised of. You are all living, breathing stardust. And with that knowledge, I want you to keep burning bright and showing the world your light. I'll see you later. Bye. Also, don't forget to subscribe.